How's it going?
How you doing?
Doing great. Ready to get this going.
Ready to get this going.
Yes, sir. Oh. So where you at?
Forest Heights, Maryland.
In Maryland, okay. Yeah, I
You
live in
know,
St. Louis, but I'm actually in a hotel in Lebanon, Missouri, because I'm up here for a mural at a high school, working out a
okay.
hotel room.
All right. Shane and I was roommates in the band at Grambling together.
Oh, right on. Okay. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing who all comes on here.
But I have some more alums should be coming on. We was in our first Super Bowl band in '67. So I called some more of the classmates since he told me what's going to be going on.
Okay. Some of your classmates?
Yes.
Okay. All right. When did you come out of Grambling?
71.
71. All right. I was born in 72. I came out in 95.
From where?
From Grambling?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
All right. Were you in the band at Grambling?
No.
What's
Just
your
in the art
major?
department. I was in the art department.
You was art department?
Yeah.
My major was art.
Yeah. So
Matter
mine
of,
too.
matter of fact, that mirror on the wall, Dr. Thomas Richardson was the department head when I was there.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I was there from 92 to 95. Painting and
Okay.
drawing major.
Dr. Fred Irvy. He's muted. And I send back donations and things like that to him. What's happening, Shane?
Everybody's muted. Huh?
Well, he's unmuted, but he can't hear me. How them Omegas are.
Oh, y'all both Omegas?
No, I'm a Kappa.
Oh, okay.
That was the right way. But yeah, Dunbar Hall was my home.
Nice. Yep, me too.
And the band room was downstairs at
Okay.
that time before they rebuilt everything else.
Okay.
So we had to march from Dunbar Hall over to where the new football field is for me. That was our practice field.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So we marched from Dunbar Hall all the way sun up to sundown over there. Then sometimes we would come back. We march behind the old stadium.
Nice. Yeah, I remember Dunbar Hall. Yeah, football field, come right out the front door. Boom, right there.
Yes.
I forgot how close it was till I went down there this past homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we had to practice. But we practiced where the new stadium is now. The new art, the performance art building.
Yep.
Definitely over there. So that's why we practiced.
Okay.
There was nothing over there but grass and a few trees.
Oh.
You here?
Going
What's
through
going on,
change.
Shane?
Fred.
How you doing?
Hey, everyone. Fred, you're in the wrong Zoom. Fred Irby. Fred Irby, my dearest. Fred, do you see me, Pam, right here?
Nice.
Where's your home?
Fred?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Kababi. You're where you're supposed to be. I'm Pam. It's great to meet you. Freddie, hello.
How you doing?
Is there? But Fred Irby, you are in the wrong Zoom. You are the keynote speaker in the other Zoom.
Nice.
Where are you, Fred Irby? You don't seem to hear us yet.
Yeah, headphones on.
Deborah!
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Deborah! Deborah!
Look at it. Do you see those?
Portia. That's Portia.
Eva, yeah, bring my iPad for me, please.
Portia, can you hear me?
But I go back every year and play in the alumni band. I'm gonna be out there this year because we won't have no homecoming
Yeah.
in the fall. So, now where's your home?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm in the
you
mid-
know, is Charlie, you know Charlie Gibson?
Mhm.
Okay.
Nope.
Hello?
Shane,
Can y'all hear me?
yeah.
Portia?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Fred is in Kababi's Zoom. He's not in your Zoom.
He's in my Zoom.
Fred Irby is?
Yes. Oh, no.
No, he's over here in Kababi's Zoom. I don't know how to get him over there. Just a minute.
Let me call him.
Fred?
Call him.
Fred Irby.
Okay.
Fred
Where
Irby,
you?
can you hear me, hon? Fred?
Right here.
Okay. Just everybody
You hear no
hang on
sound.
there 1 minute. Fred Irby, can you hear me?
I'm sure you figure it out.
This is just so weird.
Unmuted.
Fred-
Hey, man. Yeah.
Fred Irby,
Can you hear me?
hello.
Oh, he still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes, we can hear you. Now, look, now, Fred, we can hear you, but look,
We're in the wrong Zoom.
you're in the wrong Zoom. You've got your own.
What Zoom should I be in?
So Natorsha is trying to call you to tell you how to get on the other Zoom. Natorsha, are you calling Fred Irby?
All right.
I'm trying to, how do I even tell him to get to your Zoom? Okay, Fred Irby, Natorsha is calling you right now to get you to the right Zoom, okay?
Yeah, Natasha.
Okay, this is gonna be a fun night.
So what is the link? Okay, which one I'm supposed to be in? 893?
Fred, wait,
Huh?
Fred Moss. Fred Moss, hold on 1 second. We're trying to get Fred Irby over into this Zoom. He's right now on Kababi's Zoom.
Hello?
Just give us a minute.
Okay, 893. Is it 3226 or 6604? Okay, 893 3226 6604.
Yes,
And the password is 638106.
yes.
All right, I'll get right on there.
Okay. Okay, very good. Rodriguez, hello, I'm now gonna mute my,
Hold on, Pam. I don't think I was ever added as an admin for the Shrek page.
oh. I am not the host on this, so I can't, we're showing you as the host. You're not seeing yourself as the host?
No, for the Facebook Live thing.
Okay, just 1 minute here. Just 1 minute. Rachel sent something out today. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Host must use the Zoom application and not the web browser version. Are you in the Zoom application and not the web browser, Rodriguez? Okay.
Hey, Josh, you are aware that you are here twice. Can you hear me now?
Rodriguez, are you back?
Yeah, I did. I'm aware.
I'm here.
Are you on the ArtSpace Facebook account?
This computer decided it didn't want to do.
Are you on the ArtSpace Facebook account, and are you on via your Zoom, not the web browser?
Go back.
Somebody say something. How you doing there, good brother? Can you hear me?
Okay, well, the good news is that we have Fred where he's supposed to be. That's encouraging.
Miss McGee,
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to see you.
Good, well.
Hi, Mr. Freddie.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm sort of retired. I'm a little bit working still.
No,
Just
teachers,
seeing you.
teachers are never retired.
I know. I'm still teaching a couple of art appreciations, but I had to get out of there full time.
Okay.
Bobby, how are you doing?
Alan Wicker.
Can't complain. It's going
Well,
well.
I got a bunch of students. I offered to help them out if they'd come and watch this because I'm so excited to see it. So I'm looking forward to being with you tonight.
Okay.
Hi,
me too.
Pam.
Alan Wicker.
Hi.
Hey, Freddie.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
All right.
Good. How's everybody?
Doing well.
Hello,
Good,
Mr.
good, good.
Wicker.
Hello, how you
Alan
doing,
Wicker,
Miss
I'm
McGee?
good.
Alan Wicker was in the band with Shane and I during the Grambling College years.
Okay.
That's good. So we're
Yep.
really having a homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, we are.
So it's just the 6 of us so far, huh? You just wait
No,
for people to chime in?
you got 18 so far.
Oh, there's 18?
Yes.
How come I
Yep.
can't see them? They
muted.
hiding?
They muted.
Oh, okay.
Hit the participant screen and you will see the number
Down at the bottom.
down at the bottom.
Oh, I see it.
19.
Gotcha. I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
19 people.
Uh-huh.
Why are they hiding their face? You can't engage if y'all ain't showing yourselves.
They
Some
must be
of them are-
they must be Howard graduates.
I see a couple of my students in there, so
Yeah,
Come
it's
on,
still not
dude.
showing Pam.
they're kind of shy about showing themselves.
Good grief.
Rodriguez, have you been able to get on Facebook yet?
Oh, I'm on Facebook.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, Donna,
Hi
I thought
there.
you said you needed to
How
get on
are
something.
you?
Hey, Donna.
So
Sorry.
when I click the following the Facebook Live instructions,
Right,
share to a page, share on a page you manage, click on ArtSpace or Shreveport Regional Arts. That's what I was saying. I don't have those in my drop-down menu. I don't think I was ever added.
you don't have ArtSpace Facebook, okay.
Yeah,
Let
no
me-
ArtSpace, no Shreveport Regional Arts Center.
Okay, I'm reaching out to Rachel right now to find out
Okay.
what might be happening. I told her she could go home tonight since we weren't hosting, but just give me a few minutes and we'll figure that out. Hey, Arden, how are you?
Hey, Pam. How are
Great
you?
to see you again.
Great to see you. I accidentally turned in my form and I wasn't finished with it yet. So I want to do another one. Another, whatever the form is that I just,
Just for the Club 365 to donate an artwork?
no, it was,
No? Oh, your evaluation form.
yes, my evaluation.
Okay, the survey, all right. Let me make sure that the survey is in the,
Yeah, I want to redo.
yeah, it's
gonna
in
do
this
it.
one. Very good.
Thank you.
Miss McGee, you been doing fine?
I am doing great. My knees are getting a little old on me, but I'm still trying to paint and travel and working. So yeah, I'm doing fine.
Where are you located now?
I'm in West Monroe. I'm still in West Monroe. I've lived here in the same house for a long time, but I've been doing a lot of plein air. So going out, traveling out west and painting. Earlier this year, I did a plein air event was selected, which is wonderful, in Glacier National Park,
That's great.
Hockaday Museum. And this week I was actually accepted for one in Colorado that I was supposed to be doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I got a little COVID scared. My doctor, cautioned me, and then
Okay. But you
a
still,
few other things, so I decided to stay home.
but you still at Grambling though, aren't you?
Only part-time. I'm teaching an online class or two,
Okay.
but
Please,
I'm a Gremlinite, 27
please
years.
give my best to the professors at Grambling, please.
What's that?
Please give my best to the art department.
Yeah, and Rodriguez is trying to sign on. He's the department head now.
Oh, okay.
Larry is still there, and I see Anna Miller is our newest.
Yeah. Hi.
Anna's on. She's on here. Do you see? Can you see Anna, Freddie? Freddie was an art major at Grambling. And
Okay. I'm brand new, so everything is very, very new to me. So
That's when it was Grambling College.
I enjoy it, but it's every day is a surprise.
Okay. Is Mr. Holston, I know Mr. Holston's still in the neighborhood. Is he still retired?
No, he's teaching. He's still teaching.
Okay.
I don't know. He may be one of those they have to drag him out. I don't know.
That's good. Please give him my best.
I will. We will.
Thank you.
Hello?
Well, hello there.
Hi, am I in the right place? I'm looking for the trumpet masterclass by Fred Irby.
You in the right place.
Okay, okay.
With
No,
the right
this is the
people
wrong.
for the right time.
This is the wrong session.
Yeah, it's the wrong session, man.
Yeah, you have to look at the calendar. His trumpet class is a different session.
He
So
said,
whoever's looking for the trumpet class, that's the one at 893-3226-6604. Can you look
wait,
at
let me write that
Yeah.
down.
Thank
Yeah, I'm
you.
looking for the trumpet class too.
Let me see if I can find it.
No, Wicker, you in the right place, Wick.
I am.
Yes,
This is where Shane gonna be?
yes.
Okay.
I ain't gonna
So
steer you
I'm-
wrong.
So I'm in the right place.
The trumpet class is with Fred Irby.
Right.
And
Right.
the code for it is 893-3226-6604.
So
And
which,
And what's
I'm putting
what's
it
the
in the chat.
password?
But Shane,
63.
you in the right place, Wick. Wicker,
Huh?
you in the right place.
Now
Well,
wait,
she keeps. Wait a minute. Now she's saying that Fred Irby is somewhere else.
No.
Fred is somewhere else. This is CBABI, the visual master class that you're on. And look in the chat room. Rodriguez just put in the chat the code for Fred's class, 893-3226-6604. And the password is 638106. And it's in the chat. That's where Fred is. He's on a different one. This is
All right.
with
All right,
CBABI.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to tell him you're coming over.
Okay.
What's happening, Elijah? I'm just gonna speak to everybody who's not showing themselves.
Hey, Gabi.
Who's that?
Anna Miller.
How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing good. Very good.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm looking forward to this.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you would go ahead and introduce yourself while we're waiting, figuring out what we're gonna do here.
Who, me?
No, I'm speaking to all the guests.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please do.
I guess I'll start since I was just here recently. Anna Miller, a new associate professor at Grambling. Teach painting and basic design and professional artist. You know, I've been teaching for 20 something years. I love what I do. I love painting, showing artists as well. So can't wait to go back to more painting after I get hold of teaching first semester. So
Nice.
Hey, you want me to talk
Yes,
next?
please.
I'm Arden Kennedy, and I just retired from teaching in the Talented Art program in the public schools in Caddo Parish, but I was in some other parishes also before that. And my educational background is in textiles, but I love painting and I love all kinds of media. So I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I'm honored to be invited.
It's a cool thing. It really is.
I'm Donna McGee, and I've semi-retired from Grambling. I'm still teaching an art appreciation class, and I have some art appreciation students who are joining us. I wanted them, I'm so excited about having CBABI back. I wanted them to meet him, and we're currently in the class studying the creative process, so it'd be good for them to associate with this workshop.
I'll go next. My name is Felicia Burrs, and I live in Rustenburg, Louisiana. I currently work at Louisiana Tech University, but I'm using it to fund my art career. I have a bachelor's in general studies and a master's in museum studies. And I remember Mr. BAYOC from when I was in high school. He was a judge of the high school. And so yeah, I remember him, and I remember your demonstration, and it was cool.
Right.
Felicia, did you visit Grambling for a demo?
Yeah, so I went to Ruston High, and
Yeah, right. A few years ago, we had CBABI there for an experience, and students could attend, and so you came there. So see, wide reaching.
yes,
Felicia,
yes.
Are you with Ruston High?
Yes, I went to Ruston High. I when we were part of the show, it was 2007 or 2008. And,
Yeah, because
and the girl that won,
I'm looking into schools because of my two children in Ruston. So very artistic kids already.
The girl that won the show was actually one of my classmates.
Okay, very, very interesting.
Is that all we got? All these faces on here? Nobody else wants to share themselves? Hopefully that'll change as the night goes on.
Exactly. People are shy, you know.
Because I'm open to answer any questions. I want to just talk at you guys.
Hi, good evening. My name is Erin Sitton, and I teach art at Caddo Middle Magnet in Shreveport. And I'm also an artist. That's one of my paintings. So I'm just really excited to learn some things and maybe really have a chance, maybe like she said, after this semester, to do some more of my own art.
Right on. Well, nice meeting you.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
And I just joined. Sorry about that. My name is Kelly McDade, and I teach at Bossier Parish Community College. And I'm thrilled to be here. I really enjoy your work. So looking forward to it.
Appreciate it.
So, CBABI, are you going to do a demo?
I'm going to do something, yeah. I'm in a hotel room in Lebanon, Missouri. I was hoping to do this from my studio, but I am away for a week, or actually a week and a half, doing a mural in rural Missouri at a high school. So I'm working from a hotel room. So I went to Walmart and got this handy little easel for my desk in my hotel room. This is my life. This is what I do. So you're getting me very authentically.
Okay, CBABI, I have a question quickly. So I have a ongoing conversation with my students, and I'm trying to tell them that consistency of their work and somewhat coherency of their work is extremely important. And they're all over the place, you know. So how would you inspire students to, why would you think coherency important or consistency of your work important?
All right, so you're coming at me with these big words.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. Coherency. Woo, you caught me with that one. You know what? Honestly, too, when I was when I first left Grambling, I kind of tried to pride myself on, you know, I used to always say I'm gonna have this show and I wanted to look like it's 50 different artists. But when people come and ask, it's like, nope, it's just me. You know, so I would do a little pencil, do a little pastel, do a little this, that, and the other. And then when I started doing art fairs, I went around the other tents and I noticed that, oh, they actually have themes and they actually work in one medium. I was like, this is interesting. Okay. So I had to dial it in. I still didn't dial in on one thing, but I did start to work primarily in just acrylic, and yeah, not even thinking about it. Yeah, it just so happened I started getting better.
You had to find your own style, right?
I'll get to that too, about the whole finding your style thing. Yeah, because yeah, there's no, as you said, the bottom line is work, consistency. Yeah, just keep working. Because everybody wants to find a style. You can't just go look for it, you know.
No, I'm just scared that my students take 50 different directions instead of just, you know, doing the work, you know, and enjoying themselves and finding some kind of niche, you know, something special for them. Like one thing, like, hey, that's me, that's my style, that's my individuality. And, you know, I'm not, like you said, 50 different people. I want to do something special that's unique to me, you know.
And this is in college?
Yeah, Grambling.
Okay, well, no, I mean, I know you're Grambling. I'm just thinking age-wise. Yeah, but I really didn't dial it into much later. So
yeah,
I think they're still safe enough to experiment with everything, because they don't know what they're, I paint way different than I did 25 years ago. So
don't we all?
Exactly. So okay. Just let them go. Let them keep, as long as they're making art.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want to see where we are. Pam, are you still there?
Right here. Yes, sir.
Do you want us to go ahead and get started?
Yes, let's go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Good evening, party people. I'm trying to make sure I'm looking at the right camera. So we've made it through a good portion of our introductory exercises due to our technical difficulties here. My name is Rodriguez Davis, and you are here with us at the beginning of the new week of our Homecoming 2020 activities. Today's presentation is by CBABI BAYOC, and the topic is the journey to becoming a professional artist. Mr. BAYOC has outlined our program, and we're going to talk a little bit and then getting to the demo. But first, we have some business that we would like to dispense with. As stated, my name is Rodriguez Davis. I'm the department head at the Department of Visual and Performing Arts in Grambling, at Grambling State University. I'm one of the management team members here and your host for this evening. A few dates we would like for you to be aware of as we go forward regarding the remainder of the homecoming activities. The Alumni Arts Exhibition opens Friday, October the 23rd, and the virtual performance will be October the 24th. If you are an art alumni, we need you to introduce yourself like Mr. Colson did. Make sure that you put your contact information in the chat so that we can keep up with you if we don't already have your information for our directory and for some of the catalog information as well. Are there any school-related announcements that anyone would like to make? Any public school announcements? Any university announcements? Any other campus-related events that we should be aware of? All right. So we have 2 breaks scheduled. The first was supposed to be roughly at 6:45, but we'll see what happens as we move. I'll let Mr. BAYOC signal to me when he wants to break. And our next break will be roughly at 7:50, and then we'll coast into the end of our presentation, and we'll try to save about 15 minutes for any questions that are not answered during the course of the presentation or during the break. Does that sound all right?
Sounds good.
All right. So we're gonna start here.
And I also emailed you a sample page of some of my recent work.
Yes, sir. I just got it.
Okay.
So let me know when you want me to pull it up.
Yeah, we can pull it in the last session before as I talk about my work.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
All right, so we're gonna show you a brief introductory video, and then we'll pivot to Mr. BAYOC. All right. So if you would go ahead and mute yourselves and turn your cameras off. If you have any questions, please drop those in the chat. And now we turn the show over to Mr. CBABI BAYOC. Mr. BAYOC.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so first, everybody, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with me this evening. And I will apologize now because, yeah, I'm excited to be on here and I have no idea where my conversation will go. I have an outline, but information just comes and goes as it falls into place and needs to be said. I am a graduate of Grambling in '95. I'm a product of the school. It has so much to do with my career. I'm a very proud alumni, and not just of Grambling, but just enjoy saying I'm from an HBCU. So it's an honor to be on here, and I look forward to sharing whatever I can with you guys. I have a very interesting journey. It just kind of happened one day at a time. I just sat here and got on my calculator, and I've roughly been on this journey for 216,000 hours, which equates to 9,000 days, roughly 25 years since my graduation. So that's a lot of days and a lot of hours to become who I am. I'll go back real quick before Grambling and then get into how I became an artist professionally. I grew up in O'Fallon, Illinois, and I didn't really trip off school. I did this presentation years ago at Grambling, but I'll kind of abbreviate it. I took one class in high school my senior year. Of course, I could draw, and I could draw cartoons, this, that, and the other, but I didn't really take art seriously. And I took one class in high school, and it wasn't until I was going to go to junior college that I decided to major in art because no other major really interested me. I could do math, but I wasn't passionate about it. So I decided to make art my major for my associates. And it wasn't until in class and witnessing other students and their self-drive that, you know, sparks started to fly and I started to get intrigued. While there, I was born Clifford Bernard Miscale Jr. And somewhere in the scheme of things, I decided to call myself CBABI. And that was what I was going to sign my work with. So CBABI is how I signed my work for 2 years. And then the counselor at Belleville Area College, where I graduated, she had a relationship with Grambling State University, and they were recruiting students from the area. And she asked those of us that would hang out in the quad if any of us would be interested in entertaining the idea of going to Grambling. And I said, sure. You know, it didn't require me to take any tests or anything, just based on my grades and my interests. So I said I was down. And I actually signed on sight unseen, which is huge because, you know, I personally witnessed a lot of people going down to Grambling first semester, sight unseen for the first time and seeing the environment in which it was in, and they went right back home. Like there was no way they were going to do it. But me, I fell in love with it. I'm from a military environment. Folks like to say very diverse, but not so much so. It might be diverse, but not very diverse, and definitely not predominantly Black. And so Grambling was a new experience for me. Even though I was 10, 15 miles from East St. Louis, I never really hung out in East St. Louis. I never hung around with, I was myself would get nervous around all Black folks. So the idea of going to Grambling and submerging myself in this environment was huge. And I immediately fell at home. I think my first semester, I took a class in Swahili, and I noticed how they pronounce the letters and the words, and I saw that I could keep the letters together, and I have no idea where this came from, but somewhere in me, I said, you know what, I'm just going to change CBABI to a new name, and I decided to change the Y to an I, and came up with Creative Black Artists Battling Ignorance. And so that became my name outside of the classroom between 92 and 95. As people started to know me and introduce myself, I started introducing myself as CBABI. Though in class, you know, they would say, you know, Mr. Miscale, you know, and I say here, this, that, and the other, but outside the classroom, I don't recall ever saying, you know, my name is Clifford. You know, I just became CBABI. So I graduated in 95. So if you think about timeline, I was there, Black to Basics was still new, and Erica was still on campus. So I met Erica. There was another student on campus named Zach, and he did a movie called The Artist Pays the Price. And me and Erica were the stars in that movie. Have no idea what it is. I can't wait to get a copy of it, but that's floating around. But all these kind of things fueled who I was. A lot of my friends were Nation of Islam, 5%ers, like just debate with people on campus. So all these things kind of played into my identity, and they really contributed to my desire to not work for anybody. And those things led to me wanting to become a full-time artist. I wasn't a very outspoken and loud student, but I had thoughts, and I witnessed, it seemed that there seemed to be a correlation between becoming a major at a college in art and then going to become an art professor. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a full-time artist, but I had no blueprint for that. And so as I discussed tonight, how I've got to where I am today, I'll try to recall some pitfalls, though there have been many, but I have had many things that have worked. I drew some black and white prints on campus, and I would go to the local store somewhere and make copies in the art department, and I would merely sell those things. That was my early hustle, and like I said, doing portraits. So no blueprint, I just knew I wanted to be an artist. I worked for the Grambling Night, which wound up later to be hugely part of a door that I didn't know was going to open. Alan Gordon was the editor of the Grambling Night while I was there. And we were cool on campus, never known what was going to happen in the future, but yeah, we were cool on campus, and I had good work ethic. I turned all my cartoons in on time and everything. So I graduated in 95. I stayed around for another year. I literally graduated and walked off campus and went right back to my little apartment. I went there recently, and all those apartments are gone. They were like catty corner from the police department. There was a gas station, and behind those were apartments. Not the police department. There's a police cam on campus near where the apartments that I used to live in were, which are up the street from where the new stadium is. But I mean, I literally graduated and I went right back to that place and lived for a little bit longer until I moved into a trailer about a mile from there. But I just hung around for a year, and then somehow somebody in St. Louis found me and just wanted me to do a mural back in St. Louis. And I decided, they sent me a deposit. I think it was like $500 or something. And luckily, I took that $500 and moved back to St. Louis. And the mural never happened, but that was a catalyst for me leaving the campus, because who knows what had happened if I stayed down there. But I moved back to campus. I moved back to St. Louis. There's a place called Union Station here in St. Louis that I worked at an art gallery at. And I would sit outside sometimes and draw portraits. And there was a caricature booth downstairs. And this cat named John saw me sometimes drawing portraits, and I would go downstairs and watch them draw caricatures, not with any interest in trying it or anything, but I would just go down there and watch them. So, built a rapport. And then one day we had a conversation. He was like, I seen you doing portraits upstairs. Six Flags is about to start their new season, and, we could use more caricature artists, and I seen what you do. You probably would fit in well, so you should give it a shot. That just happened to be good timing, because they were about to close the gallery, and I was going to need a job. So I decided that I would go out to Six Flags and give it a shot. And they literally, when I went to Six Flags for the introductory meeting, they literally gave us a piece of paper, a pamphlet with instructions on how to design the face, you couldn't draw lines because you're just drawing it from scratch. So it showed how to draw eyes first, the nose and mouth, and the shape of the head. And so it was literally just a pamphlet. And this was my lesson to do caricatures. So it was like, take this, go practice, see you on the first day. And so it was honestly just like that. Like they gave us this pamphlet and we went back and got our uniform, got our badge. First day the season was going to open, we went in, sit down at the booth, and we're supposed to just put what we're learning to work. And as a caricature artist at Six Flags, it was all commission. So you only got paid if people liked what you did. And of course, this is my first time. It's like sitting down, becoming a calculus expert, and you never taken it. You just got a pamphlet with a few instructions, and they're like, all right, here you go, do it. That's kind of how the experience was. And it was extremely scary. I sweat a lot, even on non-hot days. I mean, it was quite the experience. But one thing that happened is as the year was going, some of the other artists there were seasoned and they've been doing it a while. And I just learned, I didn't know how much I was learning just by observing. There's another guy who's a friend of mine, and I actually live above him now. He has a tattoo shop below the apartment I live in. And he was one of the artists out there. And one thing about caricature artists, as an artist, I mean, we just have different eyes than people. I noticed that each artist, you develop a style and it just becomes robotic. And every person is pretty much, if you think about The Simpsons, there's a formula how they draw people. They just make little changes in here for personality and characteristics. Different hair, maybe a little bit longer head or this, that, and the other, but you develop a style. So I started to pick up on that. And not to say anybody was good or bad, but I just looked at it like, okay, that's not really how they look, but it's close enough. But the biggest thing I took from that was the artists and their confidence and the way that they had a rapport with the client. I didn't have that. When I first started, I was all consumed on being good and doing the best I could. I was focused on my work, and I wasn't focused on the relationship between myself and the client. So I learned that by looking at them. So as the season went on, I slowly shifted to the other side. As far as drawing, I don't know if I ever really got better. I think I got okay, but I did get better at having confidence. Even if I was sweating and didn't like it, I got better at not showing it. And so the fake it to the make it whole concept was vital to my mental health while I was out there, because I was struggling. I wasn't enjoying it, but this was the only job I had, so I had to do it. Where Alan Gordon comes in, I decided that I was looking at Entertainment Weekly magazines and Rolling Stone magazines, and I was seeing that there were caricature artists in these magazines, and they were doing it for a living. And I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to be in my apartment, in my pajamas, listening to music, hanging out, chilling, working on illustrations and shipping them. And I want that life. I don't want to come out here and Six Flags. I don't want this life. So I started studying. There was an artist named Sebastian, well, not was, he's still alive, Sebastian Kruger out of Germany. Another one of my fellow artists at Six Flags, they hit me to him. And he had this book on the Rolling Stones that I still have. And the pages are damn near falling apart because I looked at it every single night, every day. I mean, I was studying it like slowly, page by page. I was looking at how he was breaking down the face. And that was one of the first times I had ever done that with anything, like at Six Flags, I would draw and I'd do stuff that was cool. And I thought, and I practiced and I did work. But as far as like really trying to learn a craft and a skill, that was the first time. And it was huge. And so I would study this every day. And so I built a portfolio and I used hip hop as my theme. So I had Busta Rhymes and Tupac and this, that, and the other. So Alan Gordon, after I created my portfolio, I need to ship it off to magazines to see if somebody would pick me up as an illustrator. And I came across Rap Pages magazine and I looked under the credits and it said Alan Gordon as editor in chief. I don't know if he's editor in chief, but he was one of the main cats. Back then it was all snail mail. There was no email or none of that. So I put a portfolio together and I mailed it to him. And I heard back from them, and they decided to give me for an entire year. It was then the RPM section, the album or record of the month. And I did that for a year. And within that year, I got a call from Chris Lighty of Violator Management. And again, I wish I was at my studio so I could show you these things, but you can Google, and it's so weird to say, but I mean, I've been doing this 25 years. I should be used to it now. You can Google my name and Violator, and you'll be able to see the cover. But, you know, on the cover was Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, LL Cool J. And, you know, to this day, I still get people who, you know, love that album. They remember that album. They always wonder who did that art. And, you know, that was me. And I got that by way of Six Flags, by way of Grambling. You know, it keeps coming back to Grambling. And that was the pivotal part of my career. I didn't really keep doing caricatures that much long after that because outside of illustrating, I wasn't really able to do anything with them. I wasn't really hip to some of the tools that I'll talk about in the second hour about how I actually monetized my career. But back then it was, I don't even know what we were doing. All this Instagram and email and everything that we have now. I'm like, what did we do before this? But I literally was just making I made that album cover was huge. And when I did Violator, there was a group out of Georgia, Field Mob. They saw the Violator cover, and I can't remember their manager's name, but she has a big name. But she gave me a call and said the guys in the group, I can't remember their names either, but they were like, you know, they saw Violator and loved it and wondered if you would do their album cover. So look up Field Mob, my name, the Rooted to the Tuda. The two of them are sitting there in their white outfits with a pig with a gold tooth on the cover. You know, that was mine. Yeah, just I've been blessed to have an entire career where I've done very little solicitation. Everything has come from me just working and putting the work out there and caring about the quality of the work that I put out. That has been my tool of trade. You know, I've had a few ads here, a few ads there, but none of that has ever really done as much as word of mouth and people sharing my name and passing my name and just seeing my work and seeking me out. To this day, it still has been how I do it. So I feel very blessed, but I also feel like I personify what consistency and persistence looks like. And as far as persistence, you know, I believe in also this whole idea of, you know, I put out that energy that I take this seriously, and if you hire me, you're going to get quality work. And the way I do that is just by doing it, and I share it on IG and this, that, and the other. And again, I'll share that later. But that has been huge. After that, like I said, I kind of fell out of the caricatures, and I want to go back to just paint my own things and paint my own work and doing things. And this thing with Prince happened. 19, so I graduated in 95. And as I think about it out loud, it really wasn't that big of a time gap. 99, 98, 99, this woman contacted me and another gentleman and said that Prince was coming to Illinois to do a show, and he had a Love for One Another Foundation, and we're on this tour. He was donating food to food shares and co-ops and centers in that town or nearby town. And so this place called the Dignity House had a gallery, and the two of us hung our work. And, you know, they hung our work on the whole notion of, you know, Prince is doing a show and he's going to donate food here. And you never know, he might come by and see your work. And if he sees something likes it, I mean, that could be huge, you know. And artists, we hear that a lot. You know, you should hang your work because you don't know who's going to see it. And exposure. But we hung our work, and that day came and went. Nothing really happened. It was non-dramatic. And, you know, it felt like just another one of those, you know, well, here we go again. But some time passed, and I heard from Prince's people, and they were like, you know, we didn't know they videotaped the show, and they showed him the work, and he saw 3 of my paintings that he liked, and he purchased those. And a year later, his people called again and said he wanted to see if he had any more work available. And I sent him some more photos, and he bought 5 more pieces. And one of those became the Rainbow Children album cover. And that's cool because that got my name all over the world, you know, because my lawyer, it wasn't my lawyer, somebody who I hired to handle the contract, you know, I told them that I want to make sure that my website goes inside of the album jacket. And because of that, you know, to this day, people seek me out and find me. And when I did that deal, I had prints of the album cover, and I had Prince with a T and Prince CE. The painting was called Rain Keys Quintet. It was named after my wife at the time, and he wanted to rename the painting Rainbow Children, and he didn't want anything out there with Rain Keys Quintet on it, so he bought all the prints that were available. He just wanted to own everything, and so he bought all rights, and so it became the Rainbow Children. And I mean, with his death and everything, and his home becoming a museum, now that original painting is on display during the tour. And so now a whole another group of people are seeing my work, you know, and of course not now with the pandemic, all that's kind of halted, but prior to that, you know, people from all over the world are coming to Paisley Park to honor, you know, one of their favorite musicians, and they're seeing my painting on the wall. And at first, the people doing the tour guide had no idea who I was, but people started going who were on the tour who knew me personally or knew my work, and they started to educate these folks like, look, that's CBABI's work. And people started hitting me up on Facebook and Instagram like, hey, I'm on tour and they have no idea who you are. You should tell them, blah, blah, blah. And so a friend of mine, she educated them on who I was and how our whole thing came to meet. And so I wind up last year going like, over the last 2 years, went like 3 or 4 or 5 times. And, you know, sometimes when I was on tour, I started to tell people how we came to be, and how we connected. And that too has gotten my name out there. So, I mean, that's been huge. So you had Violator, Field Mob, Prince. Erica, when she first came out, she did a music video, Other Side of the Game. I have a piece in that because I first moved back to St. Louis. She immediately reached out because a lot of people from Grambling are in that video. And she said, if you can make it down to Dallas, be in the video. Well, I had no money, so I couldn't do that. But I sent a piece, and that wanted to be in the video with her and Andre. And what else happened? I don't know. The caricature artist has been huge, but what I've really done lately is, you know, I do a lot of portraits. I sell a lot of prints, and now I'm doing a lot of murals. And that's why right now I'm in a hotel room in Lebanon, Missouri. It's rural Missouri, but for the past 2 years, especially with all brothers being killed and Black women being killed and just all of the madness happening, a lot of people have been bringing me to their schools that have been predominantly white, but have Black students and Asian students and Latino students. They want them to feel like they are worth something. So I come in and do murals on the walls that reflect the diverse class or school environment that they hope to aspire to be. And yeah, that's what I mean, there's so much more in between that, but like I said earlier, there's a lot of names on here and faces that people who aren't sharing themselves. But so I hope people chat and send questions, because I mean, I can ramble, but it's so much better to interact, and I can better explain some things that I've done and that I do. I've been back to Grambling and did a presentation, and you know, it always feels good to even just think about it. I'm still in contact with a lot of Gramblingites, and you know, I do this every single day. You know, I love it. I'm very passionate about it. But yeah, I literally paint all the time, every day. A teacher asked me earlier about, you know, how much to value consistency, and I think coherency was the other word she used. And as far as consistency, like, I'm diehard acrylic. You know, that's what I use. I just started using spray paint for the last 2 years. Another thing I taught myself, you know, I became so passionate about it that I tattooed it on my arm. Like, I love the can now, and I'm finally consistent on wearing the mask. One reason I chose acrylic is because I knew I was going to be lazy with oil as far as ventilation and all that. And I like immediate gratification. Like, I don't have time to wait on the drying and all that. Like acrylic is immediate and fast, and like with illustrating, I can get it done and literally get it in the mail an hour later and ship it to the client or the next morning. And so acrylic just works really well for me. And I've done it for so long that I've gotten really good at it. I was just asked if I want to take a break, but I don't necessarily need to take a break yet. If anybody has any question or want to interact, that would be cool. We could definitely do that to cover what I've talked about over this past first hour. I would really enjoy that. And hopefully from some students, not just faculty and alumni, because I see some of y'all on here. So I'd love to interact with you.
How you doing? Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. My name is Miles Hunter. I'm a part of Miss McGee's art appreciation class. And just going on what you said previously, like how you built your career through, people you knew and things like that. My mom and my mom told me this quote one time, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Yep. And, so just me personally, as a person, I like to communicate with people, like to, put myself out there in a positive manner, you know what I mean? And things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. But
no, I mean, yeah, you're right on point. Like, when I speak to students, I say not only just my work and my work ethic, but also my personality has got me a lot further than I could have ever imagined, because I don't take my art that seriously, meaning as far as ego and all that goes. I just happen to be somebody who loves to paint, and I just happen to have a lot of people who vibe well with my work, but that's as far as it goes, as far as ego. And, so I'm very approachable, and I mean, that's been huge on people passing my name. Like, not only do they say they enjoy my work, but they enjoy me. So people are buying into me just as much or before they buy into my work. So that's big.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. Nice meeting you, man.
Nice meeting you too.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when it comes to being a professional artist, how do you deal with things like health insurance? Because a lot of artists, they have to have a day job, whether it's in the field or not. And I'm kind of like in that space where I have a day job. It gives me health insurance and benefits, but I mean, it's not like I want to do this forever.
Well, I mean, really, what I've gone years without having health insurance at all. I just be honest. Now I have some that's not great, but it comes with, like you said, you either get a job to take care of it, or you get fortunate enough to make enough money to come up with a plan that works for you. Or you have a spouse or a partner who has a job that has insurance. I mean, these are just the real ways that it happens. But there's a lot of us in this field that, unfortunately, we, depending on our income level, we don't have it. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not gonna glamorize this. I'm gonna keep it real. So, it is an experience. It's a life. And really, a lot of the stuff that I've learned late. I think hopefully, a lot of people can learn stuff earlier. Like fresh out of college, while in college, like that's time to go gung ho and, get all the bruises on your head and listen to people who've been in the field. And hopefully you can learn some tricks of the trade, because there's so much more access to ways to monetize your love and your passion, that hopefully you can figure out a way to turn it into the necessary income to take care of yourself and your family, so it can be done. Yeah, you just gotta reach out to people who are doing it. Like, there are plenty of artists who are doing great,
We have a couple of questions coming up in the chat. The first one is from Aaron. Do you manage your own social media and website?
Yes. I love Instagram, so I post my own a lot. My manager, she told me at one point that somebody was going to take over it, and I kind of grasped my heart. So, I'm like, wait a minute, but I know other artists do it, because it's like, look, you're either Instagramming or you're working, pick one. So I know there are a lot of artists who, but yeah, right now I manage my own Instagram page and website. I have somebody who takes care of that for me. I just send them the images and, or actually he pulls some of the stuff online and he takes care of it on his own. But yeah, I take care of my website and I mean my Instagram page. And again, some of this will go into the second hour, but the website that I share a lot is Big Cartel, and that's where I sell my prints and all that. But that I do on my own also. I manage that myself.
Cool. We have another question from Kashana Davis. No relation. What did you find most challenging at the beginning of your career? No day job, just art.
Day by day, not knowing what's going to happen. That was the biggest thing. Like, again, I had no blueprint. I had no roadmap. I didn't know what I was going to do. I don't know how I made it a year at Grambling. So I think the biggest hurdle was waking up. And me, I'm not a planner. I just wake up and go. And to this day, that's still my weakness. So that was probably my biggest hurdle is not knowing what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And now I go on faith and I, again, just work and gosh, it's a weird anomaly. You know, I can't, people are like, you know, what should I do to be an artist? And sometimes I'm like, I've had a unique career. You know, I think I've had a very unique experience. I wouldn't recommend doing it the way I've done it, even though it's worked out for me. But there have been many hard years, many hard days, many hard months. But I think if you can, there's no shame in early on. I wish I had done it, probably make it a little easier, but get a job early on and be willing to lose a little sleep at night. And when you're not at work, you're working on your craft. But again, this is a different time. There's so many more ways to make money now than because we barely just getting into websites when I came out of Grambling. I can't even remember we had websites when we were Grambling. I think because in fact, I got a website in '97. They were still in the beginning stages. You know, it was still a brand new thing. So yeah, the biggest thing was just waking up not knowing where a dollar was going to come from. So I didn't have that hustle spirit. So if you got that hustle spirit, you're ahead of me.
All right. Do we have any more questions? Going once, going twice. All right. You want to take a break or you want to keep on?
Yeah, let's take a 10-minute.
All right.
We'll come back and get into this business side. Some of my tricks.
All right. Okay, people. We will be back at 7:07 officially. So if you have any more questions that come to mind, please drop them in the chat. If you haven't done so, make sure that you copy and paste the link from the program survey so that you'll have it ready at the close of our event, so you can leave your responses for us. We'll take our brief 10-minute break and we'll get back here in 10 minutes. Thank you.
All right, I'll be back.
instrument is a form of worship, and I've been worshiping all my life. Just recently that I've been understanding it. But you see, in our music, how the music developed and all up to that point, and it came up in all of our music, we have had messengers to our music, to the whole picture. See, there was the message of Bunk Johnson, who was only for a specific interval. His influence was only supposed to last a specific interval in our musical development. And then King Oliver and Louis Armstrong, Roy Eldridge, me, Miles, Cliff Brown, and then whoever is going to come after Freddie Hubbard. Now, in religion, we look at it as being behind. We look at it the same way. Like Abraham brought his influence. He was directly from God. He brought his. And Moses, and then Jesus, and Buddha, Zoroaster, Krishna, and Baha'u'llah, our prophet. So we believe that the influence is just a specific amount of time, and then somebody comes along and takes the fundamentals that you brought and carries it further. So therefore, when you call me Louis Armstrong, I'll say, hey, I'll answer, because I know that we are one and the same as Moses and Jesus and Baha'u'llah and Muhammad. Abraham are the same. Playing an instrument is a form of worship, and I've been worshiping all my life.
right, party people. We're back.
Welcome back, y'all. So what we got over here? All right. So when I got off the screen, I was just thinking, like, it's so strange and weird to talk to this screen. And I was like, what did I do between Prince and today? Like, my brain just went, like, because everything's just a daily experience. I just work. So did you want to do an intro, or should I just get into it?
Let's do it. Okay.
So I'll talk a little bit about how I actually make a living doing art. So a good portion of my career at one point was portraits. And for a long time, I didn't really charge that much. And so one huge thing that I forgot to mention that really has a lot to do with where I am today. In 2012, I did a project called 365 Days of Dad. The end of 2011, there are a lot of artists who they make a career out of doing art fairs and traveling the country or traveling regions. And yeah, I know some artists and some friends who've been doing it for 20 years, ceramic artists, glass artists, painters. And I wish I had found that world as I left Grambling, because I would have jumped right on in that. Because one, you get to see the country, and two, you're doing what you do and you make money. So I tried to do that for 2 or 3 years. I mean, I didn't get real hardcore, but I started getting more and more shows per year. But at the end of 2011, I kind of realized that I wasn't really finding my niche with it. And I wanted to figure out how to make a switch. And so 2012, coming upon it, Facebook was still, fairly young, youngish. Instagram, I don't think even was happening yet. I think that happened either that year before. It might have started in 2011, but I still wasn't on there yet because it was still kind of new. But I decided I was going to put a painting up every day for a year and sell it. Because by that point, a lot of people knew my work around the world. And, a lot of people were saying, one day they're going to get something, one day this, one day that. So I decided that, and I have a TED Talk. You can look up my name, look up a TED Talk. I did a TED Talk about this project. But I decided that I was going to do a project every day. And again, my wife at the time, she mentioned that I should make fatherhood my theme. And so I came up with the title 365 Days with Dad. And I said, I'm going to do an 18 by 24. I'm going to make it $200. I'm going to post it. Somebody's going to buy it. And that was the only parameter that I put up. Lo and behold, it caught fire fast. Like, I put up a demo to say that I was going to do this project, and this cat in Paris bought it immediately. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, something just might happen here. And so January 1st came. I started my first painting, and I posted it probably 7 p.m. that night. And, that was day one. Here we go. 365 Days of Dad. And probably for the first 2 months, I was on track. But again, I said I'm going to do 18 by 24, and it's $200. I think I made them $215, so that way the $15 covered shipping for those out of town and taxes for those in town. Either way, that's what it was. So I said, I'm going to do fathers and I'm going to do children. No moms. I have a tattoo on my arm, dads don't babysit. I was going to use this to show that there are fathers who are present in their children's lives. I didn't really think that it was going to be all Black fathers, because being Black, I just didn't think about it. I just assumed that I was just going to be doing Black fathers until white families started asking, hey, can my husband be in this? And then one who likes to avoid conflict, and I'm not real uneasy disappointing people. I had to swallow everything in me and email people and say, unfortunately, I'm only doing Black fathers, because I knew genuinely folks from all races and backgrounds like my work. But I felt like, and I was, having conversations with friends and, wife and family, that it's real important to Black children to see, you know, because there's just this image of Black fatherhood that's just not out there. So that became the theme. So some had dad and one child, some had dad and 4, 5, 6, and there's no way to physically do that in one day. But I committed to it, and by the end of the first year, I did 255, which 255 portraits in 1 year, you know, that's huge. So I did 255, but then I had a whole nother year and 3 months that I had to finish the project. And this outside of Six Flags was probably one of the next biggest blessings to my career, because I didn't realize how much I was learning faces throughout the stress. Because I was just, again, like at Six Flags, I'm missing out on the interaction between me and the customer. And I'm so focused on being good. Well, during 365 Days with Dad, I'm focused on catching up, and I'm focused on pleasing people and putting this image out. And not realizing that I'm also learning faces really well. Wasn't always painting them really well, but I was learning them well. And because I was doing them so fast and had to get them out, that my style started to develop. And I say that too because was it Miss Childs that was on here that was worrying about her students and them finding their style, this and the other? We're talking about 2012. This is about 17 years after I graduated college that I started to notice that all my work was looking the same. So it's just important to just work. So my style started to develop, or my style with that started to develop. Like I go back and look at some of those paintings and I cringe looking at them. But also it's not about the painting, it's about the overall message of the project. And I'm aware of that. But just as somebody critical to my own development and where I want to get as an artist, there are just some things about it that I'm just like, okay, I can't even believe that I painted that and shipped it to somebody. But folks love it. And I have 2 or 3 children's books that my manager is working on deals and contracts with now because people connect with that project. Like that project, I named myself CBABI on Gramblin's campus. 17 years later, 365 Days of Dad, I think I feel personally that CBABI started to take form and shape. People started to see my work differently. They started to see me differently. Because before that, I was painting things. People connected with my work, you know, and they love my style. I painted a few things. There was a show prior to 365 Days of Dad when I saw somebody cry in one of my paintings because they connected to it. And that made an imprint on me. But with 365 Days with Dad, I mean, I was getting messaged, I was getting interviewed, I was getting responses, I was getting stopped on the street, I was getting stopped in the store. Like I was trying to see like, wow, like my art is really making an impact on people. So that project, whereas I was just trying to do something to earn money every day, and somebody asked, so I'll quickly divert to, that's a technique. If you can, and you want people to start to see who you are, do something every day on Instagram. Like without break, just keep posting, and you'll find an audience. So that's one way to do that. So this is what I did, but it made people see me differently. And so I believe that project has a lot to do with what I do today too, with the murals. And when things happen in the world, people will ask me how I'm going to respond, because I didn't look at 365 Days as a political statement or a social commentary or anything. But of course it was. It was about Black fathers. And it was a 365 paintings just dedicated to Black fathers. And that has really jet rocketed my career and just the vision that people have of me in society and my importance in just my contribution to what I do for us. So 365 Days of Dad was a huge turning point in my career. I didn't have business skills or mindset when I did that, because yeah, I really could have made a lot of money on that project had I had a business mind, but I was in survival mode. I need money every day, and it just happened to be fatherhood the theme. And yeah, so that's where I was with that. But I did learn a lot from it, and I still see the blessing in it. And in fact, there's a young man in Chicago, Ade, who his girlfriend was following my project, and he's a film student. He was a film student at Columbia in Chicago, where my daughter now goes. She's a graphic major there. And he reached out to me, and he wanted to do a full-length documentary on me based on the project. So he's been working on that since 2012. And either this year or next year, it's going to be a full-length documentary on that project. So I've actually been working a lot to be prepared for new people finding out about me and having work available, and just being, consistent with, what the image of what they're going to see on that screen. So some things that I do, that was one thing. That's when hustle mode started kicking in, because nobody told me how to prepare for that. So that was one thing that I'm glad I really did. Even though it became hard and stressful, I learned a lot from it. One way that I make a lot of money, and I want to share this with students, and not even students, the teachers on here, and the young lady who has a job, Felicia. What I do is I use a place called Vistaprint online, and I'm gonna give y'all some real concrete stuff that I do. So when I was, while I was working at Union Station, the young lady there had a relationship with this cat in Atlanta who had an art gallery. And one thing that he sold a lot of in his art gallery was mini prints, which really was just matted postcards and a 5x7 print and an 8x10 mat. And so to this day, I think a lot of my income I generate from buying postcards of my work that people connect with. I think I spend $30 for 50 postcards. So write down the numbers and put it together, because people talk about crack, this, that, and the other, and the drug game and the come up. This is a come up. So spend $30 on 50 prints. So they're less than $1 each. Go to Amazon and you can get a 5x7, 8x10 mat kit. I think they come in stacks of 50. And so at this point, you might be spending a little $60. So you got $60 for 50 images. So just a little over $1. And I sell each of those mini prints for $20. So it turns $70 into $1,000. And so that's just for one image. And so I have 20 or 30 images on my website, if not more. And I sell several a week. And that's something that I have no intention of ever giving up. People buy my paintings, they want to buy high-end prints, they want to hire me for murals. But one thing I know for sure is I can sell them mini prints. And what are they? They're business cards that I make money on. Because it's a mini print that goes to somebody's home, and people in them home, they have company, or they have it on their desk at work, and somebody else sees it, and they email me and like, I saw a print of my friends, blah blah blah. Or my mom likes your work; she's all over my house. And again, word spreading based on these business cards that I'm making money on. So Vistaprint postcards of my work, that is a great way to start to generate income and to get people to see your work and just to have something to share. Even if you sell it for $10, that's $500 that you can make. So what, $450 profit? I mean, that's good. And again, that's just one image. And so my goal is to have like 100, like almost to have like a record store and have a music section and a family section and a children's section and it's just an easy way to connect with people, and it's an affordable way for people who want to have something in mind and just get something. So that's one way. I use a website called bigcartel.com, and I put those prints on there, and they have different ways that people can send you money. They have PayPal, they have Stripe, and I think they had something else, but I decided to only do PayPal. And the reason I only do PayPal is because if all my income is coming through PayPal and I generate so much a month and eventually so much a year, PayPal will also give you working capital, where say you want to buy some inventory, PayPal will loan you $3,000, and they may take 15%, 20%, 25%, 30%, which could be a lot, yes. But if you can put your money and your art back in the art, that is a way to generate, and I learned that from another artist at an art fair. He was like, I use Square, and I use Square only, and I get Square Capital when I need it, and I buy inventory, and once I have a great show, I just pay that loan back, and then I wait some time until I want to do something big or something needs to come up, and I don't want to use my own money. I get a loan, they take off the swipes, I make some money, and I pay it off in chunks. So that is a technique I use also. And so I use Big Cartel, and that's where I have my paintings. That's where I have my prints. At times, that's where I have my T-shirts, and that's where people go and they buy my work. And that is immediate. And I say immediate, meaning I can, while I'm talking to you right now, I can go on here and add an image, and it's up live, ready to go, and boom. Like somebody can email me, hey, I just saw this thing you have. Can I get a mini print of that? And I'm kind of a little ridiculous with it because, you know, me, I'm like, yep. And I'll put that joker on Big Cartel. They'll buy it and then just go to Vistaprint, order it, have the print in the next week or two, and then I mat it off, send it. You know, I'm trying to control that now because that gets a little out of control. But I used to respond like that quickly. Like, that's how fast you can do it. What else can you do? Society 6. Society 6 is cool because Society 6, you don't have to fulfill the orders. So Society 6, you upload, you get good shots of your images. If you can, take it to a photo lab, or if you have a good camera or you know a friend with a good camera, take a good picture of it. So it's good quality. And in Society 6, you upload the photo on a page that you make, and then you select the items that you want that image to go on. I mean, you guys have seen this stuff, but yeah, you can have prints on paper, prints on canvas, mugs, I think T-shirts. Now you got rug mats, you got shower liners, you got all these things. But that's a way to put your work up there, and then you directly send people there, and in that way you don't have to think about it. All you have to do is just direct. You don't have to fulfill, because as somebody who still does portraits, still does murals, the whole fulfilling part can be taxing. So I'm at the stage in my career where now I have to, in order for my sanity and for efficiency, have to get an assistant or an employee to take care of that while I keep doing what I love to do. Like, I don't love to fulfill. I feel grateful that people buy my work, and I try to put that gratitude in the stressful time that I'm putting all these packages together to ship off. I try to remind myself, stay gracious, stay grateful, grateful, grateful. This is somebody who loves your work, and they trusted you with their money, and they sent it to you before they got a product. Like, I try not to take any of that lightly. And so, but I'm learning more and more as I go that if I want my business, because now before I didn't really think of myself as a business. I thought about myself as somebody who loves to do art, and folks like buying my work. But now I try to think of myself as a business, as a brand. And so now I got to find somebody to fulfill that work for me. And my son, who's 17, has actually been stepping up doing that. So I got to figure out a way to incorporate him more and just giving up more control and letting him do that. And so Vistaprint, Society 6, Big Cartel, those are some ways I've done it. But just to put some other things out there, because you don't know what you're going to get into, because I didn't know what I was going to get into. Like Six Flags, the whole putting the image out. So something else that happened. This works on the business side. There was an event called Funk Jazz Cafe in Atlanta. And a friend of mine knew Jason Orr, who did Funk Jazz Cafe. She had built a relationship with him. And she's like, we want you to come down here and do a mural. I think it's called the Tabernacle. It's a big church where he was doing the venue. So I came down there and did a mural on the wall. When I did that, this woman from Coca-Cola came up to me, and she said that she liked the work that I was doing, and she was about to have a presentation or something around graffiti, street art, whatever. Like, she had this other cat who was a graphic designer and another illustrator. She brought all of us in. But she brought me in to do this presentation, but she was super dope. I don't know how often this happens for people, but she told me what to charge. She could have told me $500. I would have been there. But she's like, tell them that it's going to cost $7,500. You know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, what? You know, for one day? Like, so she told me to charge $7,500 because not only did she bring me in for that to do that presentation there, but I also did the painting on canvas, and they were going to use it as what point of sale in stores. This is Coca-Cola, and so she told me $7,500, and that was amazing because I don't know how things transpired. I did this, that, and the other, but somewhere down the road, I got approached by these cats. I think while I was doing art fairs early on, that some guy from Budweiser here in St. Louis, while I was in St. Louis, asked me if I would do the King and Queens. They were phasing out of that. If you remember those posters, now they were doing, I think they were called the Legends or something. But so I was the first. I started that off, but they asked me if I would do the Legend series, and because I had Coca-Cola, this is a technique. You act like you've been doing something forever, even if it's the first or the second time. But once you know what to charge, going back to Six Flags, it's all about game face and all about rapport. And so when they asked me, I was like, I've been charging $7,500, even though I've only charged $7,500 once. I told them that I've been charging $7,500, and I said it with confidence. And they were like, cool. And so I did a poster for them and did point of sale. And then they came back to me next year and they said, okay, we want to do another one. And so I was like, all right, well, this year it's going to be 10 grand. And so to them, I probably could wait way more money because they said yes way too quickly. So that's another thing, taking cues. When people say yes fast, it means you probably could have got a little bit more money out of it. So don't beat yourself up over that deal right there alone. Just take that mental note because you're still getting good money for the amount of hours you're going to do, you know. But if somebody comes to you again, you know, you just keep upping that bar until people squint. And even when they squint, they're still, if they really want you, they'll take you. But yeah, I got up to 10 and I think I did 3 years with them. And the very last time I did work for them, I got 12.5. Those are hard jobs though. They were really hard jobs. When I did Budweiser, I was doing Red Fox and folks who had passed. So they had to go to the estate and to the family and get permission. And so sometimes they got permission, like literally the Monday. So say this coming month, well, what's today? Monday. Okay, let's say Thursday, all this artwork is due. They call me today or yesterday and say, all right, we finally got approval. So can you still get this done? And of course, it's 10 grand on the line, right? So I'm like, yes. So I literally stayed up from Friday to Monday. I might have got 2 hours, but I worked around the clock all weekend on these illustrations. And then I turned them in. But then I didn't get paid another another month or some change later. And some of that was after my wife had to call and go in on them. Because I eventually had a relationship with cats at Budweiser. I was working through a third party. I was working with the graphic designers. They're the ones who's hired me. And the guy at Budweiser was like, we had been giving them the money, so I don't know why it's taking so long to get paid. So I still don't understand that whole game, but that seems to happen a lot. And you need to know that going in. And that's crucial because the thing I learned from that is that don't spend your money before you have it. Because I'm like, I got 10 grand. Shoot, I'm about to get a bunch of paint. I'm about to get some canvases. So spend all the money you got. But this first year, I didn't know it was going to take a month for me to get my money. So after I turned in my art, I was hurting. Money was gone. I was spending it before it was gone because I'm counting the 10 grand. I mean, I got the check eventually, but it wasn't in my bank account yet. So do the work. Don't spend a dime. Just wait till you actually, and not just that, anything. Wait till you have the money in. Don't pre-buy, pre-spend, because in life, especially in business, things happen. I've had jobs. Here, just recently, I had a commission to do a young man, and I was going to paint him on the wall. There's a graffiti wall in St. Louis. This young lady called me and wanted me to paint the wall. Paint his image on the wall. And luckily, I told her I was going to do a canvas version so they would have something else because the graffiti wall gets tagged up all the time. So I'm going to do it on canvas. I'm going to do a portrait on canvas so that you can have something to hold on to. But I also did that so I could get a deposit because I didn't want to wait till September came. And thank God, because COVID happened. Not only did COVID happen, but after she gave me the deposit and I worked on it and they loved it, she caught corona and died. So here we are. That's the reality of it. So I have this painting now, but now, I mean, just out of honor, you know, his family's in St. Louis, ex-girlfriend, I'm gonna give him the painting. But again, not spending the money before you have it. But it's crucial to get deposits. And that's different with everybody. But for me, like when I did my 365 Days with Dad series, because I was only charged $200, I made everybody pay up in advance. And at first, I was only going to paint what I wanted and have people buy it, but it immediately became a commission-based project, meaning people liked what I was doing and they did not want to miss out. So they're like, can we send you photos in advance and pick a date? And that was not in the plan. And then, of course, I'm like, and this is guaranteed money? I'm like, yeah, you want to send me money now? And so that was good and bad, because I remember I said I did 255. There are 365 days in the year. So there's 110 dates that were prepaid that people have sent me the $200 for. And coming to the end of that first year, I hadn't gotten to them yet. So do you think everybody was in love with the project and they felt the emotion and they were very sympathetic about me being late? Nope. I was getting emails about, you said you're going to do one a day. And I'm like, okay, I did, but I didn't say I was going to paint 10 people on one can. I mean, I couldn't say this back. I had to just steam and stress out and all this on my own. But I just had to suck it in and do it. But I got through them all. But I got deposits up front. And still right now, like, I would use on my Big Cartel page. I don't have it up there now. I don't have it up there anymore because I'm kind of weaning out of portraits. I really want to get to a state where I'm doing very few commissions and I want to do my own work. But when I had my portrait page up, I would do it I decided to do it by size. And based on that size, whatever the price was, I would make people send me half of that amount. And then I would do the portrait, take a picture of it with my phone, email it to them. If they liked it, then they send me the balance and the shipping, and then I ship the painting to them. That's how I operate when I'm doing portraits. And even when I'm doing commissions, just a painting for somebody, I will I will send a sketch sometimes. But lately, based on my career and people knowing my work and trusting me, and again, buying into me and knowing that I'm going to give them quality, I don't always have to give sketches up front, even for these murals. But I always get that half, 50% up front, and then the other half after I deliver. So I have a few other things, but did somebody have any questions on here that we can get to before I keep going? Or is everybody just listening?
We have one from William's iPad. Looking back on the 365 Days with Dad, would you recommend staggering your fee schedule? If you were catching buzz, then you would raise the price quarterly?
So some artists will do that with limited edition prints. Like in the beginning, and like say you have an edition of 50. I've seen some artists where like the first 20, 25, maybe $100, $150, but then after that, the price goes up. That's all been different. But 365 Days, Dad, what I would have done differently, I would have made $200 the price for Dad and one child. And I would have done either 25 or 50 per additional child. But I would have still kept the size the same. And that's important because if I'm gonna do 300 paintings at 18 by 24, another website, Uline, Uline, I can go on there and buy a pallet of 100 or 200 18 by 24 boxes in bulk. But if my prices are all and sizes are all over the place, then I had to order boxes all over the place. So it was all strategic to do everything the same size. That way I could buy things in bulk. I can buy canvases in bulk, and I can buy the shipping material in bulk. So I would stagger the price based on what's going to go on the canvas. And so not even just with that project, but now if somebody wants a portrait or anything, it's usually based on how many people are in the portrait and the size. So definitely staggered. But yeah, had I gone back and thought about it, if I could redo it over again, I would have staggered it. But I probably, because of the project, and now looking back on it and the social importance of the project, I probably would have kept it at $25 per child. Just because a lot of people who bought paintings then, it was their very first time ever buying art, like ever, and ever buying an original. And so that was, again, so I don't curse that project at all, even though it was hard, and I don't really think I charged enough for the paintings here and there. It was my way of giving back also. It was a lot bigger than me. So that was a project that was supposed to happen that I just walked into, and well, I think it was divine intervention. It just happened the way it was supposed to happen. So yeah, I would definitely do it based on who's going to be in it.
Cool.
I have a couple questions.
Please, let's do this.
Yes. So first one, in this digital age, have you experienced someone stealing your work and profiting from it? And the second one is, I struggle with selling originals. How attached are you to your originals?
Not at all. All right, two great questions, and these are good because I just recently talked to somebody about these. So I'll talk about the paintings first. Now I have a few that mean a lot to me. I just did a portrait of Gil Scott Heron in my kid's school, I think last year, year before, and that one's hanging over in my apartment. And that one I probably won't sell. And I have a portrait of Morgan Freeman, a caricature, and it's one of the last ones I have from when I was doing caricature. So even though that's not my favorite of all of them, it has a lot of meaning because that's an important stage in my career. But as far as my art and my paintings, if I painted something once, I can paint it again. So if it means that much to me, I can do it over. And probably might be a little better the second time. And this is what I do for a living. And also I can't take them with me to the grave. So yeah, it is. So yeah, I know some people hoard their work. Like, I can't sell my paintings. I'm only going to sell prints. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how much you're going to make money. So I look at them as sketches and as practice, so I take a good picture of them, and I can most easily let them go. Not only can I let a painting go, but I can do a mural on a wall outside and love it, and somebody can come by and throw paint on it, and I won't emotionally react. It is what it is. Once I put it out there, it's like a Buddhist sand painting. They spend all this time on this painting, and the wind comes. So all the lessons and everything that I was supposed to get from it, everything, I believe in consistency. I also believe in practice. The practice is the gift, not the outcome. Because when I finish the painting, I'm ready to grab another canvas and get on over. So really the actual working and doing it for me is the gift to me. And then I get to share it with people, and I get to earn enough money to keep doing it and buy product to do more. So I have no problem selling my paintings and my work. Other question, I had this young man who, he might be 20, and it's not the first time, and I don't mean to roll my eyes and all that, but I mean, I've gotten the whole, I ain't getting no Instagram page. I don't want anybody stealing my stuff. Okay, one, you don't have style yet. And I'm not talking to you, I'm thinking about him. You don't have a style yet. You haven't really done it that long, and I don't usually judge people on good, bad, or other, but just for the sake of this conversation, your work's okay right now. So if anybody steals anything, who cares? But I look at some of my peers, and Kadir Nelson, he's making 5 figures on his work, but he'll put his image right there on Instagram, because I told you early on, people buy into you as much as they buy into art. People are painting just like Basquiat. They're not going to get $1 million for their work, but somebody's going to spend $1 million or $100 million for one of Basquiat's. So if the idea is to just keep on running, you're on the track and going, just go. Like, somebody jumps on your, they come along with you, and you're on mile 10 and they just started. They got so what if they run just like you and look like just like you? They don't have all the experience, so they might do it now, but they're going to fall off. So I never worry about it. There's a lot of people who've copied my work. I seen a print in somebody's house, and I was like, wow, they actually took one of my compositions, but I don't have the energy to go hunt them down and do this, that, and the other. I'm not gonna do it. Two, I have a lawyer. I have a manager now who has a lawyer, and so they can worry about that. I don't have time to waste that energy. I'm enjoying painting, and that's where I'm gonna keep my focus. But yeah, there's if somebody really wants your work, it's gonna be in Japan. It's gonna be on the corner, this, that, and the other, selling. You know, that's their hustle. If that's what they need to do, whatever. Their karma will be their karma. Your audience still connect with you, and you'll be fine. You know, so if you'll stress yourself out worrying about that, honestly. You know, because Instagram is huge. I post stuff and I sell stuff. Instagram and Facebook has been great to my career. So you can't be afraid to put it out there and put it up. I mean, if you really want to, I mean, you can go on Photoshop, or I'm sure they have an app for it now. Just put a watermark across the middle of it and then put it up, because then that way they have to really work at it to remove the watermark. But still, if somebody really wants to, there's some amazing artists out there. They can duplicate anything, so they can duplicate that watermark right off your image and sell it. There's really no way if somebody's really determined to sell your work, they're gonna do it. So you just can't worry about it. Yeah, but I get that a lot.
I think we have one more question.
Okay.
Do you recommend a particular camera for photographing your work?
Nope, I have no idea. So I'm learning now teamwork. So find somebody who knows how to do photography. I mean, you can go online. You got YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's also Skillshare, which I have a yearly subscription to. And on there is a training about, you know, how to photograph your work. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know how, because I don't. But there are people you can get that information from. Yep.
Can y'all hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, I was saying, like, to go on that question, me personally, like, I'm a car enthusiast, so like a lot of my photos, you know, do include my car, and I use my iPhone. I think, me personally, I think most of the the key ingredient to the photo, I think making it, you know, look presentable, I guess you'd say, would be like the editing part of it. Because like me personally, what I've done, like I've taken pictures, I'm like, oh, these are garbage, these are horrible pictures. I just threw like a quick filter on it, and I was like, wow, okay, this is actually pretty good. So like as far as like cameras, and like if you're a beginner, I would just, you know, go with your phone, and then probably download an editing app. I use like PixArt. It's pretty good. Yeah, just to piggyback on that question.
So yeah, but yeah, for like as he was saying, like for my 5x7 mini prints, yeah, most of those are I took just a still shot with my phone, because in most cases they're not going to compare it to the original, so you don't have to worry about the color being exact. Only time I really worry about, like, I have a photo lab back in St. Louis that I use, that I used to use for years, but I'm going back to them now because I want to still start selling higher end, smaller edition prints of some of my work, like editions of 20, and selling them for like 400 to 1,000. And they actually will photo the work and photo correct it and everything, so it looks almost just like the original. So it also, again, depends on the levels of which. So, but just for a matted postcard to sell, you can take that with your phone. And honestly, I think I've even gotten up to a 16x20 print of some of my work that I was able to use. And now that I think about it, so Short Run Posters is another website that I recently found. I think 16x20 might be like $4, and I'll sell it for 30. So that's another good way to, you know, to sell your work and not have to get 100 or 1,000 at a time. You can literally order one. If your grandma wants a copy, or you have somebody who wants to buy a copy of print, you can't afford to buy it in bulk. You just want to buy one or two. I recommend always buying more than you sold. Like if two people buy one, order 5, because those 2 are going to pay for the 5 anyway. And then now somebody will see those and they'll want to come back. Now you don't have to wait another week to get more copies. You can sell those 5 to people immediately. You can have that immediate exchange. So,
well,
yeah.
Let me chime in on that question about cameras, because I'm a videographer.
Okay.
The key thing is to make sure you have good lighting.
Yeah.
You can use a crappy camera with crappy pixels, but if you have good lighting, you're in the house. That solves a lot of the issue. And if you're out there using different programs, Lightroom, Photoshop and Lightroom are is the key if you want to do something like that to make your work just pop. Those two softwares, but Lightroom is awesome. They've added some different filters and some other things into it. But lighting is very important. If you got great lighting and your subject is right there, no shadows, you can do it.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Well,
Yeah, I have to give Ms. McGee credit. She requires that students learn how to photograph their work, especially preparing for senior exit. So even students who think they know what they're doing already at least get a crash course in how to set lights and how to do some basic color correction, because we want to make sure the students have a skill so that when they walk out the door, they don't have to pay somebody else to do it, if at all possible, and they can do it for someone else.
And you do know with the iPhones, I can't speak for any Androids, anything like that, but iPhones and they have great broadcast quality video, and they have great cameras on it. So you're talking about buying an expensive Canon camera, you got a nice iPhone, you're getting almost the same quality.
All right, I got to stand up for my Galaxy phone though.
Exactly.
But like I said, I have over the years gotten really good with Photoshop. So yeah, I've learned the curves and the balance and the contrast and all. Yeah, using all those tools.
And try that free Lightroom app for your phone.
I haven't tried that yet. I'm gonna have to try
it's out there. Go out there. Adobe Lightroom. It's free.
Yeah, I got the whole suite. I just haven't downloaded that one yet, so I would definitely use it.
Yeah, you'll definitely use it. So, are you using Illustrator and After Effects?
Nope.
You're not.
I use Illustrator a little bit because just when I get certain illustration gigs, and if they're large file vector, then I'm still not proficient. But like I told earlier, I have the Skillshare app. I'm gonna go on there, the program. I'm gonna go on there and watch videos because I'm doing more and more with vector work. So I want to be able to, make sure I'm sending stuff quality. Yep. So I got just a little. I got enough to handle the client.
But you said the key word vector. So if you're learning vector, you know how to do that. That's awesome.
But I use Adobe Draw on my iPad to draw a lot of my images and sketches, and that's already vector. So I send it right from my iPad to my computer. Right in Illustrator. So I'm catching up. I'm getting to learn these little tricks. So I had a Galaxy, but I got an iPad and I got a Mac computer. So I'm about to finally get me an iPhone so everything's connected. It just seems to make sense, right? No, I got you, man. It makes sense. It's working for my career. It makes sense. Yeah.
We have one more question from Kamora. This is separate from the current topic, but do you think artistic skills can be learned or is it innate?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, I just learned how to do spray painting for the last 2-3 years, which was huge because I got a mural that I had to do and the wall was textured. There's no way I could use the brush. And so, my whole career has been based on the fact that I got hands. I look on YouTube, I see somebody spray painting or painting whatever. They're painting with hands. They're going to the store and buying paint. I can go buy paint. Only thing the difference is I don't know how they put all the ingredients together. But now you guys, again, Skillshare, or now if you don't want to spend any money going on Skillshare, YouTube has millions of videos. You can learn a technique. I'm still having that question with people, what's a gift, what's a skill? There's still a lot that I need to learn. But I think anything you really want to learn, you'll learn it if you really want to. But you got to be willing to be frustrated. You got to fight through that, because when I first started acrylic, I was terrible. But now I can kill acrylic. I can do a flat or photographic, but I had to get through the frustration. So, if something's hard, doesn't mean it's not going to be your best tool. You just got to be willing to work through it and figure it out. If you see other people doing it, they had to start somewhere. Again, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't worry about where other people are on their way. If you want to learn something, you see other people have done it, go for it. Take it on.
That's what we tell students who, and Ms. Miller can attest to this, we have people walking to Dunbar all the time. I can't do XYZ. Well, have you ever drawn? Have you ever? No, I've never done that. Well, how do you know that you can't do it? And generally it winds up being that they can do it. you know, but we have these preconceived notions about what art is supposed to look like, how it's supposed to happen. And so therefore we try to institute these blocks that keep us from being the creative persons we're supposed to be.
Yeah, just recently that case was a biology student who decided to paint all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And he couldn't change major. So the reason he's stuck in a painting class because he couldn't change. The registration was closed and all of a sudden he put up a beautiful work. So.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I just, like murals are a big part of my career right now. And yeah, I didn't really think about it that much, but I used to, when I was at Grambling, so I graduated in 95, so I got there in 92. And I'm looking through books and I'm looking at John Biggers and these folks. They're doing these murals. And I'm looking at his books and I'm getting anxious at the thought of doing something that big, though nobody was asking me to do a mural. But just the thought of doing something that large, like how on earth do they do that? But now, I mean, at the school I'm at, I'm doing an 8 by 35 foot mural. And I'm telling students, like, this is small. Like, this ain't even big. I hope that this is a fourth of what I do. Like, when I first started, yeah, I was working on small canvases or a piece of paper. So the thought of doing something on the big wall, like, how on earth? But you just, again, what I say, I've been out of Grambling for over 216,000 hours. You have plenty of time to learn. Just put those hours to work. Yeah, there's no magic to it. You just got to do the work. And you don't know where it's going to take you. It's one day at a time. And you haven't done it before. That doesn't mean you're not going to be great at it. You know. Mm-hmm. Just got to do it. But yeah, we're going to.
Work is everything. Definitely.
Work is everything. So I think from here, we're going to take a break before we do a demo and then show examples of my work and talk about how I actually paint.
Yes, sir. We have one more question before we go. Ms. McGee had her hand raised, and I just now saw it.
That's okay. I really just was trying to piggyback on, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I was just trying to piggyback on what he was saying because I taught painting. I don't know how many years I taught painting at Grambling, but for a long time. And the problem was that students, maybe there's a requirement for X number of paintings, say 8 paintings per class. You're in 3 paintings classes, you only do what's required. That means you've only done 24. So how are you ever going to learn? And that's what CBABI said, that's what you say, that's what Anna says, that's what I say, is I tell my students I always said, you know, the first 50 are just, you know, really practice. You know, you haven't learned a thing until you've done at least 50. So I guess what I'm saying is really a comment and not a question, but it's about working and doing it a lot. And in the beginning, I wouldn't worry too much about style. I think by the time a person, or style or consistency, but by the time a person is a senior, they should have some idea at least of what their interest area is and their subject. I really, and Mr. Davis knows that I always said that you got to have a passion for whatever you're painting or it's not going to be any good. And so at least you should find that passion within, you know, you're trying to find a passion. It'll change as you get older, but within your time in undergrad school, if you find your passion, then you'll be able to create a body of work about that passion, and it will have meaning because you're passionate about it. So anyway, the thing I love about CBABI is, and that I think everyone can take from him is, you know, he said it over and over again in different ways in this workshop, but he's so positive. He's so, okay, you know, we're going to do that. And this not worry about anything and not confrontational. And he's genuinely a person that people want to know. And because they want to know him, they want his work, you know. So I'm so glad you're here. Okay.
But also I want to say, Mr. Moss, maybe he can agree, but I think I watched another cat that did videography, and they you know, same with painting, whatever technique or skill or craft you're in, you just got to start. You don't know what is how's. I mean, you don't don't be so worried in the beginning on chasing styles. Like I don't know what my style is gonna be. None of us do. You know, it develops. Like I love typography now, so I'm integrating letters in my. I mean, I love painting a letter as much as I love a face. Like I didn't see that coming. And stripes and polka dots. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff in my paintings. You couldn't tell me 10 years ago I was gonna be adding to my work. You just got to keep working and looking at other people's work. Like don't look at it to copy it completely, but I mean, yeah, just see what other people are doing. And I mean, we borrow from each other all the time, but yeah, if you don't come straight out of school saying Spike Lee's dope, I'm gonna do my work like Spike Lee. Like, okay, I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
come on.
I understand.
Yeah, don't because if one that could be cool, but you're gonna get sick of hearing everybody say, "Man, you work look just like Spike Lee."
Exactly.
But on my end, like I said, painters, like I'm going on Instagram and I see people's pages, and everything they post is regurgitated Jean-Michel Basquiat. Like, come on.
Yeah, I always say you always get little nuggets from people.
Yeah.
You don't get the full nugget, just get a little nugget, just a little tidbit.
Yeah.
To get you going. Yes, yeah.
And I'll say a business tip is be careful, get caught in the vortex. What's a vortex? One vortex I fell into is like when you see some people will jump and buy something. One is natural, the money's there, you see it, you're good, and you're like, oh, like for me, I had a series of portraits I was doing, and I was able to sell one of Prince. Boom, gone. I said, oh, wait a minute. Even though I was doing everybody, I was doing people you know and people you don't know, but I sold that Prince real quick. I said, shoot, let me do another Prince. And then next thing you know, I'm just paying Prince. Well, I alienated everybody else because I'm focused on what I know for sale or what I think for sale I can purchase and somebody's gonna buy. That's not allowing me to grow though. You know, don't get stuck on that immediate gratification. You know, yes, you need to make money, you need to do what you do, but don't go so caught up in what are people buying now. People are buying paintings of Christmas trees. All right, well, I'm just gonna paint Christmas trees. Even though deep down, you know you want to get really good at doing faces. Well, if you take a pause on doing faces to paint Christmas trees, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna stop your progress on working on portraits. Like just trust that there is an audience for everybody. Don't worry about what's popular. And you really don't need that. Think about how big the world is. You don't need everybody in order to make a great living. You just need a certain number of people to connect with you to do really well. Like there's some people we've never heard of who are millionaires because they got a certain audience that they connected with.
And I guess it goes all back to saying that don't let money drive you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't be afraid to make money, but yeah, don't let it be the motivation, the only motivation. Yeah. That can stifle your productivity. And because we need whatever voice you have, we need it. Yeah, we don't need the cookie cutters out here. We need everybody to show us something different. You know, there's so much more. Yeah.
So, want to take a 10-minute?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll be back at 8:10, party people.
All right.
All right. Rodriguez, you think I need to do the interview at the end? There's a few questions I want to ask you.
I'm going to text him as well so we can catch him.
Yeah, I just.
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I need to interview you for this documentary for this project we're working on.
Okay, I'm
so I can I'll just wait till after class to do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it won't take long at all.
No problem.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Please don't dismiss your glow, for you are in the know.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can y'all see the cameras all right?
Yep.
Nice music.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's how you jamming, man.
I stumbled on this album via NPR of all places.
Who is that?
Nicholas Payton.
Oh, word.
Wow.
It's like 30 tracks.
Yeah, I took my bass guitar for a minute, man, on that first cut you played.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nicholas Payton.
All right. Yeah, if you guys are ready, I'll get on it. So, I just give a little brief intro on how I work, and then I'll show some of my work, my actual paintings, and talk about my thought process on creating. For this, I'll just working with acrylic. I'll do something in grayscale real quick, and I'm always hesitant on the teaching thing because I really don't think about what I do. I just work. So I'll think about this process as I go. And so right here, I just got an image of a baby holding its own foot, and just for lighting. But I'll just show y'all how I approach it. And whether a small canvas or a wall, I really treat everything the same. But I learned by doing a portrait once at a school, and I was struggling with getting the likeness and getting it all to fit and work out. And somewhere in there, I just started putting it in shapes, and it started to go a lot quicker. And I stopped thinking about it as the subject it was, and just started thinking about it in lines and breaking it down to simple forms, and then slowly adding the detail as I went. And the more I do that, the faster I've gotten at it, but it just helps eliminate a lot of problems. But this paint is from Home Depot. It's not great, so we'll see how it goes. It should be fine for this presentation and for what I'm trying to get across. And so I don't always sketch first. Like, as you can see, I'll often paint the canvas dark first, especially like when I'm doing murals or whatever, but because I like to, if I do sketch, and even sketching is simple, I'll sketch in chalk. And in that way with the chalk will just disappear as I'm painting. And it'll just go right into it. So I usually just use a basic neutral color. But for the sake of this, I'm just gonna go right into it because I'm not worried about the foot looking exactly like the foot and all that. This is just my interpretation of this photo. And so I just mark everything off as almost as if I'm doing sculpture. So I'm just gonna do the overall shape of the hand and the foot. And so I know it's gonna fall in this area. And from there, everything's in lines. So then this is where I come in and it becomes mine. And I'm thinking about lines. So for the foot, it's gonna have this shape here. That's the foot. But also in here is the hand. So where's the foot gonna stop? So this line is important because that is gonna be determine where the hand's gonna go. And the base of the thumb is gonna be based on this line here, but also the bottom of the foot. And then, so now I'm thinking about where the foot is. And so I would do the foot right here. So that line there, that lets me know where the big toe is going to go. So I'm going to put the big toe right here. Let me get a different color because it's almost the same. And so here's the big toe. And again, I'm painting everything as shapes at first. I'm not worried about getting everything correct because I'll fix everything later with paint. So now I got that big toe there. Now everything's relating to each other. This is bottom of the hand. Here's this toe. And again, I'm not doing anything realistic. This is just me and my stylized way. This is how I come up with my compositions. So I'm gonna do this thumb right there. Again, here's the bottom of the hands, and now I'm gonna curve it out a little bit. So here's the hand starting to form. And that thumb is the top of a finger. So again, I'm using the lines that I already have. So I'm gonna, this is just a reference. I'm not making it look like that. So here's the first finger. And so I'm doing the finger. Again, oh, this line's right here. So that's where I'm gonna use that line to form the lines between the finger and the thumb. And I see there's some toes in there. So I'm gonna do kind of a circle for one toe, circle for another toe. So really on here, I can only see 3 toes anyway. So the toes are done, the foot's done. As far as where it's gonna be placed on the canvas. And now, very important to also how I work, and this is from going to art museums, and I would stare because one of my favorite things is drapery. And so I looked at the drapery in the museums, and one day I noticed, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, there's not always a lot of strong contrast. It's like, it almost seems like the light is a shape. It's not really anything more than that. It's almost like they just took a stroke of white and then that's the fold. And so from that, what I took from that was what I have here is the middle ground. Well, for this cheap paint, this is the black, but this is really gray. But for lack of a better word, I'll usually put the middle tone up first in whatever I'm painting. If I'm gonna paint a face or a hand or some part of my composition, if it's gonna be white, I'll do it light gray first. And then I'll show you, I'll come in here and I'll paint in the highlight, almost like sketching in reverse or drawing in charcoal. And so now I'm going in and I'm painting the highlights. And I'm almost kind of looking at them as shapes. And again, these are just, I do this part almost kind of quick. I don't worry about it being exactly what it's going to be. But with my eyes, the way I paint, I see other things. So now I see the thumb and I see that light going towards the edge of the finger or right to the top of the hand. And so all that I'm going to paint light. I'll come later and do little variances, but for the sake of getting the composition down, now I'm finding shapes. And so the light on the inside of the finger here. And so now I'll add the other fingers. So this light part that I'm painting is the bottom of the next finger because that is the light spot on the finger.
Hey.
You guys, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Can you see this fine?
We can.
Okay. And so now, just for the sake of me, I'm going to go back and outline just so I don't get lost on it. So there's a finger. So here's another finger above it. And then there's one more finger on top of the foot. And so this is how I start to come up with this composition. And then from there, I'll start abstracting it and I'll start making it kind of, when people say you're getting a little bit cubistic, but that really comes from this whole thing, just me drawing lines. And then from there, I just start adding other stuff and then I'll break it up. And like even this line here could have been the edge of that finger. And then I could just add another finger in there just because I want to, because it's just a canvas. It's not a real foot. It's not a real hand. So it's mine. I can do what I want with it. So this isn't anything. This isn't no realism course. This is just CBABI-isms. So this is how I come up with my designs and my ideas. And all this can change later, because if this doesn't work with the overall whatever, then I'm willing to let it go and I'll change it. If I like something that's not going to work for the final painting, I'll take a picture with my phone and I'll put it away in a Pinterest page, or I'll just save it in one of my folders on my phone and either immediately grab another canvas and put down what I like so I don't use it, or I'll just put it away and potentially use it again. But I won't hold on to it so tight that I'm stuck because I'm just so in love with that part of the painting. But if it doesn't work for the whole, I gotta let it go. And so you can see now, I'm using the lines again. So this right here is gonna be just a little lighter, because I'm treating the light like it's coming from the right. Light's very important in my work. It helps everything pop. But I'm not always so married to it. Like if I do a mural or something and I got a character here and a character there, I won't always make them share the same light source. I only do that if it seems necessary, but usually I don't stay so connected to it like that. But light is very important in making the form and the painting have more dynamic and power. So I use light a lot. But also the way I use my acrylic, I use it as if I'm doing a charcoal painting or I'm drawing in pencil. I feel like I'm shading. I'm just shading with colors. So we got this so far. That's coming along. So now the foot. This toe seems to be like the lightest spot on that foot. So with that, I got my mid-tone already. So I'll go back to defining the outside lines of the foot. And then this will go here, and then their toe there. So it seems like the line goes with where this toe stops. So that is the edge of the leg on the inside. And then I'm just drawing a shape. And so this is kind of the shape between the light space between the arm and the leg. And so I'm gonna go and paint around that, because it's almost as if painting the canvas first has already gave me what I need for the foot for the most part. So I can paint around it now. And so this will all block in that. So I would come back later and, either make this solid or make a gradation, or if this was in color, it might have a pattern, who knows, that can change. Cause I also, once I get to a certain point, I paint till I have a feeling. I paint based on feeling. Like I can feel when something's working or feel when something is flowing. So I go from all the technical things, but then comes the passion and the love part and the special sauce and the music and the love and all that, and the art, all that starts to come in after I get all this stuff out the way. So really this stage for me is all boring, but of course it's all necessary. And one thing I'll do is I haven't really added any water to my brush, so I dry brush a lot. So I learn, and I use pressure. So all, again, like using charcoal or pencil. So pretend this was folds. So I see the wrinkles in the baby's foot. So I'm pretty much just gonna start to paint those in. And so I'll just add those a little bit. I don't even know what that meaty part is of the foot, but that little hump under the toe, I'll put that on there. And again, I'll come back with a darker color to make things for the contrast and have them pop. But this is how I work. I work from dark to light. I usually work from the middle to light and then come back and add the shadows. But because I dry brush and because I don't use that much water and don't apply a whole lot of paint to the canvas, it dries pretty fast. Like all that for the most part is almost all the way dry. And give me, I guess, 2 more minutes if somebody has a question. Let me just keep getting this out the way. But so the hand is lighter than everything else. So I'm just painting that light in. And so I look at it as shapes. If I were to sketch it, I would draw the shape of the light. And I'll do that. And then if I want to, and get closer to the shade, if I don't want that line to be so strong, then, I'll start to keep on brushing it until it, you know, slowly transitions into the gray. Or I'll just go and make that mid-tone and paint it in between. But I find that I really do like, I miss pencil drawing. And so the way I'm making up for it is that's the way I treat paint. And so, yeah, I just paint shapes. So on a small scale, large scale, I do it all the same. This is how I work with my medium. And this has just come from over time. And even some of this stuff and doing the folds that way, a lot of times this stuff kind of happened by accident. Like immediately after I did it, I caught myself and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I just saw what I did there. But again, that goes back to you got to just work. You don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to work, or how your technique's going to come about. But for sure, the only way it can come about is doing it. You can't come by just dreaming of it and watching videos. Like eventually you can watch so many videos, but you got to turn them videos off or at least have them play while you yourself actually paint along with them and do it. Like you can't voyeur your way to greatness. You got to fall on your way to greatness. You got to be willing to be frustrated, mess up, like all that. All that is part of it. They just say, what they say, if you're not making a mistake, then you're not trying. So, I mean, that just makes perfect sense, but it also has a lot to do with how you become good at what you do. And so I love little canvases. Like I usually have a little stack of 5x7 canvas panels. Like this is where I'll play with stuff because I'm trying to go way more abstract. And so I've recently done some on canvas, big canvases, but I started with little 5x7s because, again, I was like, everybody knows me for my people. And what if I start going abstract? Is anybody going to, well, I'm not going to worry about that. I know people are buying paintings that are abstract and I have no idea who's going to buy mine, but I know in my heart I want to go abstract, so just got to do it. So, yeah, I'm just doing it. I think there's an artist, Mark, oh shoot, his name will come to me. He's in LA. He paints with paper. He does huge works. Thelma Goldman was told
Mark
to go.
Bradford.
Mark Bradford, yes. So I love his work. So when Thelma Goodman went to his studio, he wasn't really even out in the art scene yet, but he already had a whole bunch of work. And she said that when I came to him and found his work, he had already found his voice and how he wanted to produce. And so again, you just got to follow your passion in your heart and what's true to you. Because look, she showed up, he had work, and now he's huge. But he wasn't worried about, he said he turned the paper and natural materials and one, economically, it made more sense because paint was expensive. Mm-hmm. And two, it was true to him and his environment, using those hair papers that, because he was at his mom's salon. And, his style and what he does is authentic to him. So if you see his work and you love it, and then you go out and buy some papers and you start doing what he does, okay, it might look good, it might work, but you don't have to him, it's true. It is what he is. So when he talks about it, he can talk about it passionately. You can't talk about it passionately. You're going to make up something. You're going to try and make it sound look good, but people are going to be able to read through that because you're not going to have a story about how you came to it. If you're being honest, you'll say, I saw somebody else doing it. And so I decided to try it and I liked it. But and people might be okay with that, but it's so much more powerful when you're passionate about explaining why you do what you do. Again, people buy into that, not just your work. It's so much deeper than just the work. It's about the story.
That's what.
So this is how I develop my paintings. This is how I work. This is what I do.
Also, Mark Bradford had a slow burn. He didn't really get successful until his 40s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody's journey is different.
Yep. Amen. Absolutely.
Well, that's what Ms. Miller and I were talking about earlier today, is that people are thinking that the fame and clarity will be instantaneous, and they don't realize you have to work through the ugly phase in order to get to where you're trying to go. Absolutely. So it's easier to try to take the shortcut and do what someone else did without having to go through all the pain of self investigation, which is really what it, like you said, what it takes to find your voice, is to figure out who you are as a person. It helps to to make the work that much more rich.
And be willing to share your work and put it out there, because that's the only way people are going to know what you do. Like early in my career, when I first got back to St. Louis, I was hanging in this place called Nick's Wine Bar. You know, this person would call me and say, would you hang your work? And I'm like, yep. Like I would just put my stuff up anywhere and everywhere. And to this day, people are like, you know, the very first time I saw anything of yours was that blank, like 20 something years ago. And it's like, you know, and then they might come back in town and like, wow, you still doing it? You know, and like, yeah, but you got to put your stuff out there. You just people need to know you're going to work. Like, can't be worried about, you know, if fear of people stealing your work let you show your work, then nobody's ever going to see it. So, and now the globe is at your fingertips and everybody's staring at their phone all over the world. So you need to put your work online. Like I said, if you're worried, put all kind of coding and all that on your stuff and send a copyright to yourself. I mean, there's all kind of tricks and stuff that you can do, but you got to share your work. That's the only way people are going to find you. But also don't be so eager to throw it out there immediately. Like, it's for sale, it's $10,000. Like, okay, you just started. Like, relax.
Now you do know, for some of these young folks on this call, they don't know nothing about that. Send a letter to yourself, copyright.
Sure, I didn't either.
Yes, indeed.
Again, look at all these tricks. You know, any question you got and all that kind of stuff, reach out to either people who are doing it or Google. I mean, there's answers, but Instagram's good for, I would say, I was thinking about this earlier, put out questions to artists that you like, but don't expect all of them to respond, because we're working, we're busy. Just because we are posting doesn't mean we live on there and we're gonna reply to every DM, and you know, so don't be offended if people don't respond, because people don't respond to me. And ain't no ego thing. It is, you know, I know these folks are busy and they're working, they're out here making their money, or they're trying to do what they're doing, or they have a life, and everybody doesn't want to DM. So, but somebody will respond if you put them out there. Just don't be scared to reach out and ask questions, because somebody has done what you're trying to do. And if we don't answer the question, at least direct you to somebody that can. But there are resources out here. But yeah, you don't have to struggle the way that a lot of us have. Like, I've been through some stuff. And I was also thinking, here's another thing. My game has changed in the last few years because I have a manager now. So when folks email me and they want something, and I'm saying, and I say, email your manager, trust me, they already know. Like, oh, okay, this is gonna cost something. And I say that to say, you know, especially after you get comfortable with what you do. One thing I used to use a lot earlier in my career is, I don't know if they put it out still annually, but it used to be this book called Ethical Guidelines, especially for those of us who are 2D and like doing t-shirt designs, this, that, and the other. Be very careful, because people are, for lack of better words, people are crazy. And people think that you should be willing to share your work because they're friends with you or they love you or this, that, and the other. And then they're going to take your work and make t-shirts. And, you know, even to this day, somebody just recently reached out to me asking me, they got to come up and they want me to design some candles for them. And I was like, email my manager, even though we friends. I learned a long time ago, even though me and Erica went to school together, and for a while, Erica had connection with some of us that weren't her very close friends, but you know, we were cool. But people will say, "Oh, don't you know Erica? Like, you think she come do a show, blah, blah, blah?" And I'm like, man, look, I can't just call Erica like that. She's gonna give me the same thing she'll give anybody else. If you want her for her singing her business, you got to go through her manager. Ain't no call and get the buddy hookup. Like, she ain't on that level no more. So even if you just starting, you might do that for a little while, but be careful. Like, people will take advantage of you, even your friends. Don't let people take advantage of you. So go online, ethical guidelines. I think recently I even Googled current pricing for children's book illustrations. You know, you can find a range. I think Kadir Nelson, I mean, is like in the 20s or something. Like, somebody just offered me $20,000 to illustrate a children's book. But guess what? My manager was like, nope, because they also wanted to own all the paintings. And she was like, we're going to do 18 and royalties. And that's huge because the very last children's book I did was I got $5,000 for. But they don't need to know that. They don't need to have that conversation, you know. But this has also been 10-year time span between that book and now. And so again, all the projects I've done, I'm on, you know, people see me differently, so a different pay scale. But also, when you send people to your manager, they know they can't come to you like they would if they just came to me. They probably would have offered $500 or $7,500 and said that that's all they had. But because they went through her, and lawyer came up during conversation about this, that, and the other, like we'll talk, and a lawyer's will talk. When they start hearing all that stuff, they know that you're not here messing around, and they can't take advantage of you, because people will. They just do. Everybody wants to control their bottom line. They'll say their budget is only this, but it's not always true. They always got a little bit more money.
Of course.
Yeah. So I mean, but you only learn that game just like learning your style and learning to paint. You just got to get out there and do it. But reach out. Like people reach out to me and say, I just got asked to do a mural. What should I charge? And I'm like, well, I can't tell you what you should charge, but here's one way to charge. Go find the size of the mural, and you know, going rate can be anywhere from $10 to $20 a square foot. Shoot, but now recently I charged, and even me, it took everything in for me to swallow. I wanted to charging $50 a square foot, and I was like, "Are you serious?" But the people actually went for it. So, I just got texted that some people got some questions, so I'm going to shut up and stop running my mouth. But
yeah.
Also, I want to show my work. So, this is what I do. So, sir, if you can bring up the examples, we can start talking about actually some of my finished paintings. But let's also answer some questions. What y'all got?
So the first one is, how did you learn? You already spoke to this, but how did you learn to price your work before working with corporations?
So my paintings, I met some artists in Memphis, and they told me that they charge per square foot. And so early on, I started charging, square inch, I'm sorry. I started charging per square inch. So if you got an 8x10 painting, by square inch, that's $80. Multiply that times 2, $160. So I would charge $160 for my 8x10s, and likewise for each size as it went up. So that's one way. I mean, you can charge by hour if you want to do that, but I think a lot of artists that I have met, we started off on a per size and per square inch way of coming up with our pay scale. So just try to, and also it takes the emotion out of it.
Let's see. How did you find a manager? Can you discuss the relationship, how the relationship works in general? And great demo.
Well, thank you. I have had several managers that had no idea anything about art, and those were disasters. But recently I was asked to do a podcast, and the woman, she called me to set up she was like, I have a client. I knew the client, but I take care of his affairs and blah, blah, blah. And I want to set up the time and the date that you're going to do this. And we just had a good rapport. And then she came to town, after we did the podcast. She was like, I didn't get a chance to meet you, so I'm going to come by. And we just sat down and vibed, and I was like, man, whatever you're doing for him, I want you to do for me. And that's kind of how it worked. So I don't know any magical way to find a manager, but one way is you can get connected with a gallery, and then that gallery can represent you. That's what some artists have done. You might have a friend who is crazy on the business skills, and if y'all are cool and they love your work, and that could become your manager. There's no blueprint for it, but there are people out there who manage artists. Like you can go on and look up galleries, and just like I found my illustration gig back in the day, people send their artwork to galleries, and that's how they find galleries to rep them. Like there's a young lady on here, Tiffany Glenn, on Instagram. I see her connected with a gallery, and she's been selling like crazy during this pandemic. So you just connect with the right people who believe in you. They'll push you and they'll make it happen. So reach out to galleries. That's one way.
There's a request for the name of the podcast.
Which podcast?
The podcast you were talking about.
If you Google my name and Rance John, or if you look back on my Instagram post, the podcast is on there. But yeah, Rance John is a barber in St. Louis, and he has a podcast on Facebook. So if you look up Rance John, then you can go back through his videos and you'll find mine. And it was actually done in my studio, so you can get an idea of where I work, to my space. Big old garage, my heaven, away from home.
All right, can we all see the portfolio?
You know what? I'm looking at it and it didn't even register. I thought that was my home screen, man.
You're still in painting mode.
I can't.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wait.
So this here was a portfolio that I recently sent out to for a mural RFP. RFP is request for proposals. And so Square, everybody uses Square. A lot of people use Square to do their transactions when you go to a grocery store or wherever. But Square has a new office building they're building in St. Louis, and they requested original art by local artists. And so I use these pieces as part of my portfolio. I use these pieces because they wanted sketches of ideas of what we would do, but then we used the portfolio to show them how the final work would look. And so sell them on an idea, but give them an idea how the product looks. How do you get the product? You get the product by painting, not waiting for people to ask you to do something, by working. So these are paintings that I did on my own, trying to work and continue to develop. So this is where I'm at now. So I kind of, my style is this. The one on the left, Dapper Blues, I first drew a guitar player who I saw out my window, and I painted him from behind, kind of like.
Slide it down some.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, Drake, we can't see the whole thing. It's cut off at the top and at the bottom.
Yeah, slide up.
Yeah,
So
I sent a PDF, so it might not be able to so well. But also keep that in mind. And again, on my Instagram, my IG page, I had all these are on there. You can see them fully. Or on my Big Cartel page, they're on there too. But what I was going to just say is that at first it was just a person from behind playing the guitar, but that bored me. And so I just immediately flipped it, and I just pretended, okay, what would it look like if he's from behind, but also from the forward? And so I put that hand, I put the fret, put the hand on the other side, add another line. Again, those lines, the line from the tie going up, I just took that all the way around, just like I was doing on my hand demo. And where that line went determined where the top of the hand was going to be, but also determined where another block of color, the same color of the guitar would be. And so the whole cubistic thing, that all comes just from me adding more lines and more planes and repeating colors. It's not so much like traditional cubism where, like the steps piece where you got all these legs and all these steps, or the dog with all the dog, it's, not so much that. But this is just how I break up and add more elements and abstract characters to my paintings. But then the other hand, yeah, it's based on the line of where the suit coat is, but also I had to balance colors. So if you can see enough of the painting to see, in my house I have a poster, "Don't be so hard on yourself." And so I just looked up at that and I added that part of that graphic to the bottom right corner. But then for balance, the top left is just yellow, kind of rustic like with a little bit of green, just for balance. And the pink, the tie I did first, but then I put pink on the left, pink on the right. Folks might not ever notice, but for my own neurosis and my own need for balance and all that, I had to have colors bounce around in some way. Like those little circle things on the bottom left, that's just because I needed turquoise down there. Just the green by itself was driving me crazy. And so that's kind of how I come up with things. The So Fresh, So Clean, my man is So Fresh, So Clean. I happen to love coffee. So I just kind of put that little coffee symbol down on the bottom left, and I loved it. And the fresh, again, I love painting text now. And for this painting, the photo reference I used, this cat was wearing a suit, but he was also next to water in his fence. And so that's how I came up with that graphic on the left. But I didn't want to, it was unnecessary in my mind to make it realistic. So I just put the lines from the graphic and then just left it like that. And this became one of my mural pieces that I just recently put up in St. Louis. That's one of my recent Instagram posts too. You can see that I did these 8 by 16 foot murals that I had to paint sideways in my studio. And again, I had to treat them just as line, not as the subject. Because if you worry about the subject, it kind of messes with your eyes. But if I can look at it as just lines and color, then I can paint something sideways. I can paint it upside down, doesn't matter. I can just look at the image and the design. But yeah, that's how I came up with that image. Yeah, but these two things represent pretty well how I not only paint on my canvas, but this also how I break up my canvases and my murals. I paint kind of collage style, like, yeah, this is how I work now. This is where I'm at right now. I don't know where I'll be 10 years from now. And I used to when I was younger, like, oh, I found my style. This is what I'm gonna do. No, I don't do that anymore. I'm just like, this is where I paint right now. It may change tomorrow. I might tomorrow wake up and be like, I don't like none of this. And my crazy self, I've been known to just, I just go back and cover that coffee. But now I learned to leave stuff alone. Like, okay, this represents CBABI 2018. Leave it alone. Pick up the canvas, move forward. So I try not to cover stuff up anymore.
Can you say something about the influence of music? Because I know that it's integral to the way that you work. And I think that most of the artists that I know, have something playing in the studio. So what role does music play in your creative process?
Music definitely is huge. It does help set the tone. Just on a basic level, it keeps me inspired to work. Sometimes I'll play music that makes sense to what I'm working on. Playing a young lady, then you can play more R&B or jazz or whatever, but not always. Usually I just have something on just to fill the space. But also for me, why music is important is because I'm very visual. And if I have the TV on and working, then I'm gonna look. But if I have music on, then I don't have any visual distractions beside my own work. So it allows me to be productive. And also and not only music, but lately, and I've listened to other artists, like I've been able to listen to Audible and books on tape too, because sometimes that's really good when I'm working. I don't always hear everything that they're saying in the book, but it helps me get lost in a way to where I'm really dialed in on what I'm working on. So definitely audio anything definitely helps me be very productive. But music is important in the sense that I also try to have some form of movement and rhythm in my piece. So I think the balance of the colors and all that definitely has some kind of connection to music. And if you think about, I was thinking about this the other day, if you think about songs and how they have a chorus that comes 2 or 3 times throughout the song, it also kind of do that in my paintings. Like I need a color or a pattern to bounce around 2 or 3 times to rotate. And that's how I connect the flow and create a flow in my work.
Is there a venue that your work hasn't been shared in yet that you would like to have it shared in?
I'm ready to create a show that will be ready for museums. Okay, so here's some more work. Y'all can see that bouquet? Well, go back up. Oh, okay, well, no, that's cool. So, yeah, that's perfect, just right there. So Fly, I like Fly because her face isn't all brown, because it's not a real person, it's a painting. So that's a lesson. This is just a painting. So do what you want. But there's a lot going on in that, and it took me a long time to be able to get to that. But now I can do this comfortably. But there was a time when I really struggled with being able to do that, put colors in the face and still make it interesting. But she's one of my favorites. She's still in my studio. But I recently installed 4 large paintings at a hospital, a new hospital in St. Louis. And the Bouquet of Humanity is actually the name of the whole series, but this is one of the panels. Each of them were 5 by 12 foot. But that gives you an idea of how I break up my murals. I usually find the characters first, like each of the people and where I'm going to place them. And then after that, I'll find elements that can add to the overall feel of the piece. So I knew I wanted to have people, and I wanted to use flowers and plants to fill up the space, to almost create a bouquet of humanity of who not only the clients of the hospital were, but even the nurses and the doctors, but also diversity so everybody could see themselves. So yeah, this is a lot of what I do now. Like that's become a trademark in my work, is painting everybody and showing everybody's value. But if anybody has any other specific questions about these paintings or anything they see in there, I can answer it. But yeah, I love painting large. So these were a thrill, and they're in really some really cool, important places. Like the one on the bottom is at Sightman Cancer Center in St. Louis. So, I mean, they wanted to do something that would create a sense of calm and healing and inspire that whole idea that you're going to be okay and to have faith over fear. So that was a special piece to work on. So I get a lot of those now, which again, I'm very grateful for my career, and I'm, where I'm at now, it feels divine and feels awesome.
So have you done any specific work with youth as far as like youth camp or anything of that sort?
I've done a few, but not that many. I get anxious about camps and teaching and workshops, and I think even this I might have said no the first time, but then it circled around, and but yeah, I haven't done a lot. But even the mural here in town that I'm working on, the students have been coming up and helping work on it and fill in colors and paint, and they give me the ideas and designs, and I work them into it. And, but I've done a few classes and workshops here and there. It's not my comfort zone at all. I don't. Yeah, I just like executing work. I don't really like. I know I need to get more comfortable with people. Keep asking, so I mean, and I get along great with kids. It's just I don't have much confidence on the teaching piece because I haven't practiced it.
Well, you did fine tonight.
Well, I appreciate that.
And we're always reminded that the professor knows more than the student does anyway. You just can't let them know that you don't know anything.
Exactly. Always.
It's all a game.
Anybody else got questions while you got me? Well, I do have a big show I'm working on. So for 2022, because that'll be the 10-year anniversary of 365 Days of Dad. So I'm going to work on the theme will be Black fatherhood, but I want to do the pieces on a massive scale. I have the space to work on them now, so I want to develop a show for museums that hopefully will travel the world. And I'm not going to wait for a museum. If I have to start off in community centers and this, that, and the other, I'm going to use my connections. But one is, first and foremost, is for me, because 365 Days of Dad meant so much to me, but because people keep bringing it up, I know it meant a lot to them, and it never really got celebrated in a show. It was all online and virtual. So I want to bring it into a physical form that people can experience in person. So that is something that I'm really excited about. I have no idea what it looks like. I just know it has to happen. And I'm not going to worry about it taking place January 1st, 2022, but at the latest, the exhibit will be around Father's Day, but it'll start in St. Louis. So hopefully travel for years, and I'll continue to create work to add to it. But I don't want it to just be painting. I wanted also to have some video element to it, the documentary for sure, but also just some pieces that I've seen other people do. I want to just branch out and not just rely so much on just painting, but I eventually want to get into sculpting and all that. So I hope all those kind of elements become part of this exhibit as well. So I'm even going to push myself out of my comfort zone, and just so I can have I can create a better experience for those who come to visit the show. And so that definitely, I'll make sure it definitely comes to Louisiana.
We'll be looking forward to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm a member of the Shreveport Regional Arts Council, and I came to this workshop through their publication with the masterclass programs, and I'm doing the workshops with Eric Francis. And I just wanted to tell you how much I've enjoyed this conversation, this dialogue you've had with us tonight, how much information you've provided, and inspiration, and just having an honest discussion about your process and how you've come to it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I love the Instagram. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. Right on.
I am working on the Instagram phase of things, of putting my artwork out there on a regular basis on the Instagram and the social media aspects. And yours is an excellent example.
Make sure you use those hashtags.
I love hashtags.
But then so other people find your work that you won't expect. Yeah. So I had to learn that myself. It's huge.
Thank you. And thank you for the Vistaprint hint.
You're welcome.
I'd love to hitchhike on to what Lynn was saying, being with the Arts Council. You've spoken so much about entrepreneurism and about your own go out and fight and get it. I just wondered, St. Louis is really becoming one of the top art cities in the nation, and seems like there's a tremendous effort at public art and other major projects. What kind of city or public support are you seeing for your work or for other artists' work, not just in St. Louis, but it seems like in that area, it just seems like in that area is where you're doing a lot of work. So are you finding that there's a public friendliness for paying for murals and things of that sort?
There are definitely a lot of people working on getting more work in St. Louis, because I mean, we're not where other cities are, but people definitely want to get more up. And again, I've been in St. Louis 25 years. And so, yeah, I've just been able to create a footprint here for myself. And so, I mean, I can't speak for everybody as far as it being out of town, our town, because it might not mean the same thing to somebody else. But I definitely know there are folks putting in work and to have the city make even a better environment for artists to work in and survive in. So street art and murals is finally, I think, slowly starting to become something that's happening in our city. I'd like for it to get to the point of like Detroit and Philly, and which it can happen, just one project at a time, one neighborhood at a time. But yeah, it's definitely starting to become there, But yeah, I see more mural festivals happening around the country, and that inspires me. So you definitely can make that happen in St. Louis, but I mean, literally it can happen anywhere. Yeah, it just takes more examples and people just being open-minded, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got to provide the example.
That's it. Data, data, data.
What it's all about. Do we have any more questions for Mr. BAYOC before we wind up our program here? Don't be shy.
Come on, all you students, hiding yourself.
But we sure do want to thank you. I know everybody said that, but gosh, it's just been remarkable, really so inspiring. Thank you for giving us your Monday night. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you again for inviting me. I really do. I'm honored.
Yeah.
And hello, I'm Alexis White. I'm a student at Grambling, and I'm actually studying cybersecurity, but I really appreciated everything that you said tonight. And this was really something that I never thought I would have interest in. But I really appreciate everything that you said and just all of the advice. And I love your artwork. I just followed you on Instagram, so thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, Alexis. I will follow you back. Good meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
All right, so we want to remind everyone before we depart officially that if you haven't done so, go ahead and click that link for the survey and the chat dialogue, if you would, so you can leave us some feedback. And we do want to remind you that there are more activities coming up. We have Eric Francis and Rashonda Spears tomorrow night, both happening at 6 o'clock, continuing their master classes, their workshops. Miss Brenda Wembley, the second part of her master class at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, the 23rd. And again, with Mr. Eric Francis and Rashonda Spears in their individual workshops on the 24th. That's Thursday. So we hope that we'll see you again over the course of the remaining time that we have together so that you can interact with some more of these wonderful artists that we have assembled for your entertainment and pleasure. And we definitely want to thank Mr. BAYOC again for coming through and enlightening us and entertaining us and hopefully giving us something that we can use to stay inspired and keep working for those of us that are in the trenches trying to make art on a regular basis.
All right, everybody, it's been a pleasure hanging out.
Will your work be in the exhibition on the 23rd of October?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh. All right. Well, hopefully. We love it.
We'll all be surprised.
All right. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Be safe, everybody. Wear
you.
your mask. Wear your mask.
Exactly. If you'll stay on, Mr. Moss wants to interview you.
Okay. Take care.
Hey, hey. Okay.
Oh, we're gonna interview with an audience.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
You got a question, Mr.
It's I don't care.
Actually, they can just they can stay on and mute themselves. But Regis, just make sure you put them on speaker view so when he speaks, he'll pop up. Hold on for a minute. Let me start recording on my end.
Hold on, let me. How do I do that?
Up there at are you controlling the meeting?
Maybe.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna record it on my screen, so I'm good. I'll put it on speaker view on mine. Hold on for a minute. Let's record. All right. Let's go to speaker view. And okay, here we go. First of all, I enjoyed the workshop tonight. I was in between two workshops, this one and the one with Mr. Fred Irby on music. So both workshops were great. We're gonna start this interview off by, first of all, tell me what do you hope to accomplish by these workshops, and what do you want the folks that are participating in here to know? What do you want them to leave with? Yeah.
I guess overview. I want them to leave inspired by the potential that if they want to do it, that there's a way to make it happen, and that you just can't be scared to try. Like my whole career has been based on not having the fear to try. So hopefully they got that from it. And it, for me, is know that it's bigger than just the craft itself. Like there's a bigger reason for why we do the things we do. Like we're connecting with other people on this planet in a way that we have no idea. And so our work could really mean a lot to somebody. We have no idea who and how they respond to it, but just be sincere about what you do.
Okay. In getting prepared for this workshop, first of all, this wasn't one of your first workshops, was it? That you've done?
I've done interviews, but not really many workshops.
Okay. So tell me this: how has this whole pandemic changed your whole outlook on art and moving forward?
I think I was nervous maybe for the first month, but after that, it was kind of business as usual. And I think really because like the overall theme of the whole workshop is you got to just work. So luckily I've done enough that luckily I'm not starting my career in this pandemic, because then it'd probably be rough. But because I already have work out there, that prints were still selling. People were still asking me to do portraits. I work by myself in my studio already, so I've been doing that. I mean, the biggest effect it's had is lately I've been doing a lot of school murals. So school's been closing. So that means this is the second mural that I've done since the pandemic. But usually I did them with all students. So this is actually the first one I've done with students in the building. Like the last mural I did, all the schools, the kids were all virtual. Or it was actually the summer, it was right before. They had me come in before school started because they didn't know if they were going to be virtual or not. And they didn't know if I could be in the building with students. So that's probably had the biggest effect. But outside of that, it's taught me to rely more on my online presence and my storefront and being, all that. Like I got to pay more attention to the fact that everybody's online. And so my work needs to be online.
Okay. How did Grambling State University get you prepared for what you're doing now?
Being self-reliant, only wanting to work for myself. Really wanting to paint work that Black children could see themselves in. That's based on me coming out of Grambling. I got friends around the country. And again, I said earlier that Alan Gordon, who was the editor at Gramblinite, him being at Rap Pages when I was illustrating at Six Flags, he helped launch me into my illustration life by giving me a job at Rap Pages as an illustrator. So that came because of Grambling. I wouldn't have met him.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to leave with us?
I'm very proud of being from HBCU. Somebody who didn't really trip off school or all that. I'm really glad I decided to go down there. And what else would I say? I don't know. I mean, one thing that was huge is Mr. Holson and Mr. Calloway, who's not at school anymore, but they took me to DC. And I went to meet Mr. Calloway's art dealer, and I took a pastel drawing with me. And clients came in to look at some work to purchase, and they bought that pastel drawing. And I caught the bug on that trip. And so that's very instrumental in me being who I am. That trip that they took me on to DC. And I really believe they took me because they knew I was serious about doing this. So I would tell students, like, yeah, work. Don't sit on your ass. People will respect you if they see it. You don't have to tell people you're passionate about it. People can tell through your deeds and your actions. Actions speak louder than words. I mean, we've heard it all our life, but it's true. People see you putting in the work, you'd be surprised, and people will step in to help you. But they won't help you if they don't see you putting in the work yourself.
Got you. Well, thank you for sharing that with me and
Absolutely.
And with us. And looking forward to. Now you'll be back next Monday, right?
I don't know what's next Monday.
Next Monday? I gotta look at the schedule. But I enjoyed everything, and most of all, I'm gonna follow you on Instagram myself.
Right on.
Yes, I am. Thank you, sir.
Nice meeting you, man. Take care.
All right, man.
Mr. Moss?
Yes, sir.
If you can send us some clips. The provost is getting kind of antsy. She wants to see something that she can share.
Oh, okay.
So anything will do. They don't take much to please them, but she wants to see something.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Cool.
Good seeing y'all.
Thank you for doing this. It really means a lot for obvious reasons, because these are crazy times and there are a lot of artists that are going through stuff that they haven't been able to create.
Absolutely.
So, they need the compensation for sure.
Yep.
I think, I could be wrong, but I think we may have been at the Funk Jazz Cafe the same night. I have to go back and read through my stuff, but I received a strange phone call from one of my former professors at the University of Georgia. She met Jason Orr somewhere downtown Atlanta, and she was like, there's this dude that's doing this thing at this place in Atlanta, and you should go up there. I gave him your name, and I didn't have any work to show, literally no work to show, except for the stuff that I was fooling around with an undergrad, and I went up there and it blew my mind. And of course, I still wasn't prepared for what I learned when I got there, but it definitely was influential. And Jason was such a character that I didn't realize that you could be that kind of a black person in America, and and it be successful. It made a huge impact on me for sure. They had me at a janky spot, but it was still a good experience though.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of my fondest memories too, man. That was huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird how small the art world is, especially when you're talking about black folks in the art world. It gets even smaller, and that's one of the things I try to get students to understand is that as you were saying, it's about your presentation and also the networking that you may not know that you're doing. You just don't know who you're going to run into again, who may be able to open up a door for you and provide some sort of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So, well, thanks again.
Here,
what's that?
I said, be safe out here.
I will. You too. Try to watch out for the crazy people who are not wearing masks.
Oh, they're all over in this town, man. It's nuts.
Oh, there are plenty of them here too, as you can imagine. Yeah. All of them Monroe and West Monroe. They don't stop.
Trump got them tricked, man.
Oh yeah. All right.
Take care, man.
Peace.
Peace.